LoveLore Library. Chapter 1022. In the past few days, Wei Jin felt weak. His limbs were sore, his head was hot, and his chest was stuffy. He thought it was a cold, so he went to the hospital to check, but there was no sign of a cold. When he tested his blood, he was shocked. He actually had AIDS, and the HIV virus was positive. "Doctor, did you make a mistake?" Wei Jin was thunderstruck when he saw the result. He sat in the hospital in a daze. There is no mistake. Generally, we are very cautious about the positive test results. We carefully tested many times with different reagents before coming to a conclusion. Because there have been cases of false positives in the world before, we will be very careful. The doctor looked at Wei Jin and shook his head sympathetically. "The young man in front of me looks young, but he actually has such a terminal disease. Doctor, how can I have AIDS? Did you make a mistake in the test results?" Wei Jin still couldn't believe the result. "I didn't have promiscuity. How can I have this disease? The transmission of AIDS is not only through sex. It can also be transmitted through blood. Blood transfusion and drug abuse may be infected." The doctor explained to Wei Jin. "But I didn't take drugs or blood transfusion. How can this be?" Wei Jin held his head and shook his head. "Then I don't know. I'm just a doctor, not a detective. I can't investigate the cause of your illness. I can only check the final result," the doctor said with a bitter smile. But Wei Jin still wanted to say something. The doctor was a little impatient. "If you don't believe it, then check it again, but the possibility of a mistake is minimal." Okay. Wei Jin nodded quickly. This was exactly what he thought. If he didn't check it again, he wouldn't give up. Wei Jin drew his blood again and waited anxiously for the test results in the hospital corridor. Wei Jin paid the emergency fee. An hour later, the results came out. It was still HIV positive. This time he was completely dumbfounded. How is it possible? How did I get this disease? Wei Jin took the test results and wanted to cry. After carefully thinking about what had happened recently, there didn't seem to be any way for it to spread. "I didn't look for a woman, I didn't take drugs, and I didn't have a blood transfusion. How did I get sick?" Wait, Wei Jin was shocked. Sister Gu. During this period of time, he only had that kind of relationship with Sister Gu. Could it be Sister Gu? Thinking of this, Wei Jin didn't stay in the hospital anymore. Instead, he drove directly to the Immortal Resort, wanting to find Sister Gu and ask her about it. "Young Master Wei, you're here." Sister Gu was surfing the internet in her room. When she saw Wei come in, she quickly stood up and said apologetically, "I don't feel very well these days. I think I caught a cold." You caught a cold too?" Wei Jin was stunned. "Let's find a place where there is no one and live in seclusion for the rest of our lives." Wei Jin looked at Sister Gu's pitiful look and persuaded. "Young Master Wei. I'm sorry. This is all my fault." Sister Gu said with a sob, "I think I understand the reason for this." "What reason?" Although Wei Jin was a lot more open-minded, when he heard Sister Gu say that she was sorry and said that she thought of the reason for this matter, his heart suddenly tightened, and he quickly asked. "It's Zhou Ruoguang. It must be him." Sister Gu gritted her teeth and said angrily. "Zhou Ruoguang." Wei Jin was stunned and said, "What does it have to do with him? He raped me." Sister Gu was able to sit in the position of a madam within a few years from a young lady. Naturally, she had extraordinary intelligence and ability. Her analysis of things and human nature couldn't be more thorough. Therefore, with just a clue, she was able to figure out the crux of the matter. What? Did he rape you? When? Wei Jin's eyes widened with a murderous look. On the day of your class reunion. Sister Gu sighed and said faintly, I guess he had that kind of relationship with Zhao Xiaoyan, but he didn't know that Zhao Xiaoyan was sick, and you said this afterward. I guess Zhou Ruoguang had already had a relationship with Zhao Xiaoyan at that time. He was resentful in his heart, so he raped me and tried to pass the virus to you through me. It's all my fault. But I should have told you, but I'm afraid you won't want me after you know, motherfucker, this Zhou Ruoguang, I will never forgive him. Wei Jin's eyes flashed with a fierce look, and then he said to Sister Gu, forget it. I don't blame you for this. I will investigate it clearly. If Zhou Ruoguang is really infected, I will not let him go. Things were as Sister Gu expected. When Wei Jin called Zhou Ruoguang's tone was obviously unnatural. Cousin, you are looking for me. Zhou Ruoguang, why do you want to harm me? Wei Jin snorted coldly. He was also tricking Zhou Ruoguang, because everything was just Sister Gu's guess, and he had no actual evidence. You know all about it. Zhou Ruoguang listened to Wei Jin's tone and suddenly did not hide it. He laughed and said, Wei Jin, you motherfucker, you're really bad. You gave me a Miss AIDS. I didn't know, so I did her. Humph, I also want you to taste the feeling of being sick. Isn't it refreshing? Zhou Ruoguang. Wei Jin was angry. He didn't expect that it was really Zhou Ruoguang who did it. He suddenly felt a burst of chest tightness. You deserve it. You were lustful and had sex with Zhao Xiaoyan. You motherfucker are blaming me. Ha! You're still talking about me. Zhou Ruoguang laughed crazily. You're right. If you weren't lustful and didn't have sex with Sister Gu, would you be sick? Ha 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 ha. Zhou Ruoguang, you're good. Wei Jin angrily hung up the phone, gritted his teeth in anger, and shouted crazily, Zhou Ruoguang, I'm fucking irreconcilable with you. If I don't kill you, I'm not a man. Young Master Wei, forget it. He's also sick, otherwise he wouldn't have gone to extremes. Sister Gu also heard the general idea of the phone call, so she tried to persuade him. Sister Gu, this matter can't be let go. I'm not done with him. Wei Jin's eyes were scarlet, and his expression was ferocious. Let's not talk about the matter of infecting me with the disease. Even if he just raped you, I will kill him. Wearing a green hat on my head, I fucking want him to die. Sister Gu was moved by Wei Jin's words, so she no longer tried to persuade him. Wei Jin, on the other hand, gritted his teeth and began to think about how to deal with Zhou Ruoguang. His father was dead, and several of his father's capable subordinates were also finished. It could be said that Wei Jin was now alone, without any power. But Zhou Ruoguang was different. He had a good relationship with Sui Guangheng. If he acted rashly, he might not be his opponent. If he couldn't kill him, it was hard to say if he would be killed by him. Therefore, Wei Jin was thinking about a way to get rid of Zhou Ruoguang without any danger to himself. However, after thinking about it, there was no good idea. He couldn't help but sigh. Damn it, if Madman Ma and Zhou Xiaoming were not finished, they could be used. This damn Yang Ming. Chapter 1023. Young Master Wei, speaking of Yang Ming, I suddenly thought of something. Can you talk to him and ask him to help you kill Zhou Ruoguang? Sister Gu suggested, I think he is so swift and fierce. It should be easy to kill Zhou Ruoguang, right? Moreover, he and Zhou Ruoguang also have a grudge. As long as you give him a lot of benefits, I think he can help you. Yes. Wei Jin slapped his thigh and said, Sister Gu, you are right. This person can be cooperated with. Yang Ming was born a violent maniac. He was a militant in his bones. Last time, Wei Jin and Zhou Ruoguang were beaten half to death by him. However, Wei Jin did not hate Yang Ming. After all, it was his own people who pretended to be badass in the first place. His strength was not as good as others, so he deserved to be beaten. Moreover, Yang Ming seemed to have connections with many underworld forces. Wei Jin still did not want to provoke this kind of person. However, to deal with Zhou Ruoguang, they could cooperate. Now, money had become a worldly possession for Wei Jin. Even if he had more money, he and Sister Gu could only enjoy a limited amount. It was useless to have too much money. It was enough for treatment and daily necessities. Thinking of this, Wei Jin decided to find time to talk to Yang Ming and give him a lot of benefits. He wanted to see if Yang Ming could help him kill Zhou Ruoguang. Yang Ming memorized Chen Mingyan's mobile phone number. Chen Mingyan did not notice. She picked up the mobile phone from the coffee table and put it in her pocket. At this time, Auntie Li also prepared dinner. Yang Ming and Chen Mingyan went to the dining room to have dinner together. From the evening until the afternoon of the next day, the two people almost never left the room except for going to the toilet. Chen Mingyan was also very cooperative with Yang Ming. Both of them cherished this hard-won two-person world. In the evening, Mother Chen called and asked Chen Mingyan to go home for 2 days. Chen Mingyan was reluctant, but she also knew that she was about to start school. She did not have much time at home, and she had been out for a few days. She had no choice. Chen Mingyan had to apologize to Yang Ming. After school starts, I can live here often. Now, I really have to go home. Yang Ming also knew about Chen Mingyan's situation. After all, the two people were still students. If they blatantly told Chen Fei that the two of them were living together, it would definitely not work. So now no one made it clear. Uncle Chen was clear in his heart, and Yang Ming was also clear in his heart. He just turned a blind eye to it. After sending Chen Mingyan home, Yang Ming drove back to the Huashang district. When he passed by Zhao Ying's house building, Yang Ming couldn't help but look up. He wanted to go up and sit, but he finally gave up. It has been 3 days. Zhao Ying should have discovered the secret of my memory tree, right? Why hasn't she given me an answer yet? This made Yang Ming very anxious, but there was nothing he could do. Yang Ming wanted to ask, but he didn't know how to speak. In desperation, he had to give up. However, he couldn't go to Zhao Ying's place, but he could go to Wang Xiaoyan's house as he pleased. After parking the car, Yang Ming casually rang the doorbell of Wang Xiaoyan's house. After a while, Wang Xiaoyan ran out to open the door. Yang Ming wanted to say something, but he heard Wang Xiaoyan whisper, "Sister Ying is here. Don't mess around." What? Yang Ming was suddenly shocked. Damn, no way. Zhao Ying actually came to my place. It seems that I really came at the wrong time. Yang Ming wanted to avoid it, so he said, "Then I will go first." You'd better not go. You rang the doorbell. Sister Ying has already heard it. If no one comes in, Sister Ying will be more suspicious. Besides, there is a monitor in the house. She may have seen you now, said Wang Xiaoyan. Well, then I will go in. Yang Ming nodded and entered Wang Xiaoyan's villa. Yang Ming. Zhao Ying saw Yang Ming come in and was slightly stunned. Her heart suddenly had a sour taste. Did Yang Ming come to find Wang Xiaoyan? Ha, Sister Ying, you are really here. Yang Ming said shamelessly, I just went to your house and found that you weren't there, so I came here with the idea of giving it a try. As a result, Wang Xiaoyan said that you were here. Ah. Zhao Ying was a little happy when she heard it. Yang Ming actually came to find me. Didn't he come specifically to find Wang Xiaoyan? So she said with a red face, Xiaoyan and I haven't seen each other for a long time. We are talking about intimate things. What are you doing here? I was thinking about going to your house for a meal. If that's the case, then I will go. You continue to talk. After Yang Ming finished, he turned and prepared to leave. I won't bother you anymore. Wang Xiaoyan thought to herself, this guy is really thick-skinned. He can lie without blushing. He's really a talent. Yang Ming came and left legitimately. It made Xiao Ying very embarrassed. After Yang Ming left, she said, Yen Yen, Yang Ming is such a person. He is careless. Don't lower yourself to his level. I can't afford to lower myself to his level. Wang Xiaoyan said angrily, when I first moved here, I don't know where he found a construction team. They renovated 24 hours a day. I couldn't rest well. I couldn't wait to kill him to vent my anger. If it weren't for your face, I wouldn't have spared him. Yang Ming is a careless person, but he doesn't have any bad intentions. Zhao Ying quickly explained for Yang Ming, it's good to be more tolerant. However, I see that your relationship with him is quite harmonious now. What if we don't get along? We are all neighbors. We see each other frequently. Do we have to quarrel with each other all day long? Wang Xiaoyan said with a smile, besides, we are all in the same school, so I didn't pursue him again. Yes, Yen Yen, are you used to living here alone? Zhao Ying looked at Wang Xiaoyan's empty villa and asked. It's okay. Or, Sister Ying, you move in together. Wang Xiaoyan suggested with a smile. Okay, but I'm afraid that it will trouble you. If I come, Yang Ming will come to your place more frequently. You don't like bustling places, so it's better that I don't affect you. Zhao Ying said, anyway, we live close to each other. We can visit each other in 2 steps. Wang Xiaoyan thought, if you don't come, won't Yang Ming come? However, this couldn't be said to Zhao Ying. She had to keep it in her heart. The two talked for a while, then Zhao Ying left. When passing by Yang Ming's villa, Zhao Ying hesitated and left quickly. Yang Ming stood at the window and looked at Zhao Ying's departing figure. He sighed slightly. It was so dangerous today. I almost exposed myself. Zhao Ying's current attitude was not very clear. If Wang Xiaoyan was added in, Zhao Ying would be more hesitant. Maybe she would reject me again. When Zhao Ying completely disappeared from sight, Yang Ming walked out of the villa again. This time, he didn't knock on the door, but jumped directly from the wall of his own yard into Wang Xiaoyan's yard. When his feet just landed, he looked up and saw Wang Xiaoyan standing in the yard with her hands on her waist and a sneer. Why are you here? Yang Ming was like a thief who was caught, and he was a little embarrassed. This is my own yard. Can't I be anywhere? Wang Xiaoyan snorted. On the other hand, are you practicing? Yeah, you also know that as an assassin, we must often exercise our skills. Otherwise, we will get rusty. Yang Ming laughed twice. Only a ghost would believe you. Wang Xiaoyan rolled her eyes at Yang Ming. Why? Chen Mengyan left. You are bored alone, so you thought of looking for me. Yang Ming was a little embarrassed when Wang Xiaoyan guessed his thoughts. However, he naturally wouldn't admit it. This is the case. Didn't I say it last time? I want to focus on training the people in our assassin group. I came here this time to discuss this with you. When Wang Xiaoyan heard that it was about the assassin group, she suddenly became interested. She nodded and said, let's talk inside. Yang Ming breathed a sigh of relief. He thought, little girl Wang's weakness is very obvious. In the future, when she is against me, I will look for her to talk about the future development of the assassin group. This is really a good idea. Entering the villa, Wang Xiaoyan gave Yang Ming a bottle of green tea drink, then she sat on the sofa and listened attentively. Little Yen Yen, I am going to take the people of the assassin group over in a while. This matter should not be delayed. Naturally, the sooner the better. Yang Ming said, in this way, our assassin group can be on track as soon as possible. Yang Ming, is the training you said useful? Do you want to train these people personally? Asked Wang Xiaoyan. Personally? Of course, I don't have so much time, but I will find someone to train them. Yang Ming said, in fact, what these people lack is a tacit understanding of cooperation with each other. If they are taken out individually, their skills are still okay, but when they are combined together, it is a little worse. Except for a fixed partner, if you just find two people to work together, it is estimated that they are worse than if they are alone. Therefore, what I want to train is also their tacit understanding of cooperation with each other. In this way, many tasks that they can't do alone can be completed together with more people. Wang Xiaoyan nodded after listening. Yang Ming's words were very reasonable. It was impossible to improve everyone's strength in a short time. However, as Yang Ming said, it could improve the collective cooperation ability. If they cooperated well, they could get twice the result with half the effort in many cases. Okay, I agree with this. Wang Xiaoyan said with appreciation, this is what I didn't consider before. You are right. A task that can't be completed by one person can be completed by more people. Another one is the original way of accepting tasks for the Black Widow assassin group. This also needs to be changed. Yang Ming continued. Chapter 1024. Why? Asked Wang Xiaoyan. Small missions. Don't accept it if you don't have to. Not only is there no profit, but it is easy to expose the target of the assassin group. Yang Ming said, cancel the previous telephone method of accepting missions and change it to the internet. Then, I will find a way to connect our system with the International Assassin Organization. I agree with this, but we don't have many missions at the moment. Many old customers only know our phone number. If we change it like this, won't we lose most of our customers? Wang Xiaoyan said hesitantly. Old customers. Most of them ask you to help solve business disputes, right? What about breaking a leg, crippling an arm, and so on? Yang Ming waved his hand and smiled. It is better not to accept such a mission. A mission can't earn much money, and it won't improve the reputation of the assassin group. Instead, it will reduce the assassin group to the same level as the underworld thugs. Wang Xiaoyan nodded with some embarrassment, but what Yang Ming said was also true. After all, her assassin group was too unknown. Not many people knew about it. It took a lot of effort to accumulate these customers. However, it is better than nothing, right? Unless you have a better channel to accept a big mission. Of course, if you don't, I won't suggest this. Yang Ming smiled. After all, I am now a member of the assassin group. The rise and fall of the assassin group is directly related to me. Although Fang Tian had retired from the underworld for a long time, there were still some relatively important missions. Many people wanted to ask him to come out, so it could be said that as long as Fang Tian made a call, there was no need to worry about not getting a mission. Really? Wang Xiaoyan looked at Yang Ming with some surprise. If she could get a big mission, then Wang Xiaoyan was naturally not willing to act as a low-level revenge thug. Leave it to me, Yi Zichen said. Yang Ming said with confidence, let's go. Let's go to the assassin group now and move these people. Yes. Wang Xiaoyan now listened to whatever Yang Ming said because she had already regarded Yang Ming as the only hope to revive the assassin group. The two took advantage of the night and came to the original location of the Black Widow assassin group in Shantytown. Everyone here had seen the powerful skills that Yang Ming had displayed last time, and they were sincerely convinced by him. These people worshipped the strong. Now that they saw that Yang Ming was so strong, and Yang Ming wanted to find a place for them to train, they could become as strong as Yang Ming. Who wouldn't be willing? Naturally, they were overjoyed. Golden Bull, in particular, had already begun to rub his palms together. Yang Ming nodded. He was afraid that this group of people would get tired. If that was the case, no matter how good the training environment was, it would be useless. After Li Chang and the others heard Golden Bull say that he was good at killing people, although they did not say anything, there was still some smile in their eyes. Yang Ming also saw the hostility between the two sides. He couldn't help but laugh. It seems that you are not convinced by each other. That's good. Let's do it this way. You two have a competition with each other. Let's go together. Of course, no matter who wins or loses, you will be a family in the future. The Black Widow assassin group no longer exists, and Li Chang and the others will also be integrated into the new organization, the Black Butterfly Organization. Yes. Li Chang, Lu Chao, and Wang Peng immediately replied. Golden Bull was not willing to be outdone. He said to the original Black Widow assassin group behind him, "Do you have confidence?" Yes, yes. Although the voices were very loud, they were uneven. Golden Bull couldn't help but blush. This is the gap between him and others. Yang Ming nodded and said, "Then let's start. My time is limited. You guys make it quick. Don't let me down." As soon as Yang Ming's voice fell, some people on Golden Bull's side began to attack. However, on Li Chang's side, without the orders of the three people, the brothers behind him did not move at all. When the people on the Black Widow's side began to move completely, Li Chang's side moved. Although the people on the Black Widow's side were extraordinary, the people on Li Chang's side were not weak. Moreover, they had an extraordinary spirit of cooperation. The most obvious example was that when Golden Bull was attacking Lu Chao and was about to take him down, the other brothers rushed up and blocked Golden Bull's fierce blow, giving Lu Chao a chance to breathe. It seemed that the offensive of Golden Bull and others was very fierce, but in fact, the effect was not great. They had always been the main attacker, but the other side did not even have one person down. As for their own side, many of them had been knocked down by the other side because they had been too reckless in their attacks. Golden Bull looked at the fallen brothers. While he was anxious, he also understood why Yang Ming wanted to train them. It was already very clear who was better and who was worse. There was no need to compete anymore. If they continued to compete, they would only lose face. Thinking of this, Golden Bull suddenly shouted, "Everyone, stop." The people on the Black Widow's side were attacking fiercely. They did not know why Golden Bull wanted them to stop. However, because Yang Ming asked Golden Bull to take the lead, then he was the temporary leader. So under Golden Bull's command, everyone stopped and stood aside. "Everyone, stop." Li Chang saw that the other side did not fight, so he also instructed his people. After the people on the Black Widow's side stepped back and stood still, they suddenly realized that so many of their brothers had been knocked to the ground, and they still rushed forward without realizing it. They thought that they were very fierce, but in fact, they had already lost. Looking at the other side again, none of them had fallen. At this moment, they secretly admired them. No wonder Yang Ming sent them here to train. Although they were all convinced by Yang Ming, they were not necessarily convinced by Li Chang and others. But after the battle just now, the people on the Black Widow were really convinced. This was the gap between them and the other party, so they had to lower their heads humbly. Well, it seems that the result is out. Yang Ming smiled and asked Golden Bowl, "How do you feel?" "Brother Yang, I am convinced." Golden Bowl said with conviction, "Brother Li Chang's people are not only skilled, but more importantly, they cooperate with each other very well. This is what we lack. Moreover, it seems that everyone on Brother Li Chang's team is basically at the same level, and we are somewhat mixed. Well, since I recognize your shortcomings, I won't say anything more." Yang Ming nodded and said, "From today onwards, there is no Black Widow assassin group. There will only be a Black Butterfly organization in the future. The thing I hate the most is infighting. If someone lets me know, then don't blame me for being rude. Wu Ming is very clear about my means. If there is anything you don't know, you can ask him." How could these people not know about Yang Ming's means? After Yang Ming left that day, Wu Ming told them about Yang Ming's power. These people were horrified when they heard it. Those unimaginable methods of making people die made these people fearful of him. Therefore, at this moment, after listening to Yang Ming, Golden Bowl quickly promised, "Brother Yang, it won't happen. You can rest assured. We will be brothers with Li Chang in the future." Yang Ming nodded and said, "Li Chang, you are still in charge here. Golden Bowl and the others, you will be assigned to different teams to train according to their individual strength. Golden Bowl is a good person. He can be entrusted with some heavy responsibilities." Suddenly, she was a little depressed. Why did I feel that I was so bad before? Yang Ming was like a giant aircraft carrier, but I got a small dinghy and rode it. There was no comparison at all. Aren't you afraid that I will betray you? You brought me to such an important place. Wang Xiaoyan said with some anger. This Yang Ming is really annoying. Why is he so much better than me? Ha! Yang Ming smiled indifferently. You have been to such an important place. What is this? What is important? What's so important about mine? Compared with yours, it is simply a small workshop. Wang Xiaoyan felt that Yang Ming's words were weird. It was a bit like sarcasm. I didn't say that you were at the base in Shantytown. Yang Ming shook his head. Then what are you talking about? Wang Xiaoyan asked, baffled. I'm talking about the place on your body. Yang Ming smiled wretchedly. You have such an important place on your body. I often visit it. Wang Xiaoyan's face turned red. She suddenly understood what Yang Ming was talking about. She couldn't help but be dumbfounded. This Yang Ming, I'm talking about serious matters with him, but he just has to talk about messy things. However, it was also very relaxed. It seems that it won't be boring when the two of us perform missions together in the future. What are you talking about? Again, don't go again next time. Wang Xiaoyan glared at Yang Ming and threatened him. Hee hee. Yang Ming didn't care. What you say doesn't count. She welcomes me every time. You go to hell. Wang Xiaoyan said angrily. As the two people were talking and laughing, Yang Ming's phone rang. He picked it up and looked at it, but it was an unfamiliar number. It's so late, and a stranger is calling me. Hello. Yang Ming picked up the phone. Are you Yang Ming? The other party asked straightforwardly. Who are you? The voice of the other party sounded familiar, but Yang Ming couldn't remember who it was for a while. I am Wei Jin. The other party was very frank and said directly. Wei Jin. Yang Ming suddenly frowned. This guy, why is he calling me in the middle of the night? Although his phone number wasn't a secret, it could be found out by people who knew him or in the school's archives. However, if he didn't do this deliberately, Yang Ming didn't feel that he could have any interaction with Wei Jin. I have something to talk to you about. Are you free? Wei Jin didn't want to beat around the bush, and he didn't have the mood to beat around the bush. Naturally, there was 1 and 2. Talk to me. Now. Yang Ming was inexplicable. Am I familiar with Wei Jin? Yes, now. Wei Jin said affirmatively. What do we have to talk about? We are not familiar with each other, right? Yang Ming was suspicious. Could it be that this guy knows that I killed his father and Jinglao Lu? It's impossible. The police and the media have no clues. How can he know? He has no special ability. I want to ask you to do something for me. Of course, as a thank you, I can give you a very generous reward. Wei Jin was afraid that Yang Ming would hang up, so he hurriedly said, how about it? Are you interested? After all, there were some conflicts between the two people, and Wei Jin was also afraid that Yang Ming would ignore him. Do something. What is it? Yang Ming listened to Wei Jin's words and became interested. After all, Yang Ming still coveted the Wei family's company. Can we talk about it in person? Wei Jin hesitated and didn't say anything through the phone. He felt that it was safer to talk in person. At least he could see Yang Ming's reaction. Well, let's go to Earthly Paradise. Just book a room and text me the room number. Yang Ming thought about it and said. In his own territory, he was not afraid of what Wei Jin would do. Hanging up the phone, Yang Ming looked at Wang Xiaoyan next to him and said, come and meet someone with me in a while. Aren't you afraid that I know too much about you? Wang Xiaoyan looked at Yang Ming with a smile. What's there to be afraid of? I know your depth, and you know my length. We are in the same boat. Yang Ming said with a smile. Oh. Wang Xiaoyan felt weird after hearing it. What's the depth and length? Why are you talking about the language? Isn't it enough to say that everyone knows each other's secrets? However, looking at Yang Ming's somewhat lascivious look, Wang Xiaoyan felt that something was wrong. Is there any other meaning to what he said? Depth, length. Wang Xiaoyan thought carefully about Yang Ming's tone. She suddenly understood. She was ashamed and knew what Yang Ming meant. Can you think about something serious usually? How am I not serious? Yang Ming saw Wang Xiaoyan's look and knew that she figured it out. What do you mean by length and depth? Asked Wang Xiaoyan. It doesn't mean anything. Yang Ming said innocently, it means that we already know a lot about each other. Is there any other meaning? You. Wang Xiaoyan was so angry at Yang Ming that her face turned red, but she couldn't explain it. She couldn't explain to him what depth and length were, right? Oh, could it be that you misunderstood these pure words? Yang Ming suddenly looked like he saw through you. He looked at Wang Xiaoyan and said, I say, little Yen Yen, although it doesn't matter if we are ambiguous occasionally in our current relationship, you can't think about these dirty things all day long. You won't be in the mood to do serious things. Yang Ming's sentence directly made Wang Xiaoyan so angry that her face turned livid. She just wanted to kill someone. But she wasn't Yang Ming's opponent. She couldn't beat him, so she had to give up. However, she turned her face angrily and didn't look at Yang Ming. Yang Ming smiled and didn't speak. The relationship between the two people was like a young couple who had just fallen in love. Chapter 1026. As soon as Yang Ming entered the door, the lobby manager of the Heavenly Earth greeted him and asked with a smile, Mr. Yang, you are here? Today, I was invited by someone else. Don't worry about me. Yang Ming waved his hand and said. Okay. The lobby manager saw that Yang Ming directly refused, so he didn't say anything more. Yang Ming took Wang Xiaoyan directly upstairs and didn't tell the lobby manager the room number to go to, so the lobby manager couldn't tell President Gua. Moreover, President Guo was busy with the real estate company these days and was not in the hotel now. When they came to the door of room 4026, Yang Ming knocked on the door. After a while, Wei Jin's voice came from inside. "Who is it?" "It's me, Yang Ming," said Yang Ming. The door was opened, and Wei Jin stood inside haggardly. He hadn't seen him for a few days, and he had lost a lot of weight. Yang Ming was a little surprised. However, thinking that this guy's father was dead, it was inevitable that he was sad. "Please come in." Wei Jin saw Yang Ming and squeezed out a smile. He let Yang Ming into the room. "What are you looking for me for?" Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan sat on the sofa together, while Wei Jin sat on the bed by himself. Wei Jin glanced at Wang Xiaoyan next to Yang Ming and hesitated. However, he was a little envious of Yang Ming's luck with women. Why are there such beautiful women around him? However, Wei Jin didn't have the mood to look at any beautiful women now. There was only hatred left in his heart. That was to kill Zhou Ruoguang and wash away his hatred. "If you have something to say, just say it. She basically knows everything about me." Yang Ming glanced at Wang Xiaoyan and said to Wei Jin. Wang Xiaoyan listened to Yang Ming's words, but her heart trembled. She suddenly remembered the words that Yang Ming said in the car before. Although now Yang Ming said it seriously, and there was no previous ambiguity, it still made people involuntarily think of the previous matter. Wei Jin looked at Wang Xiaoyan and looked at Yang Ming. Seeing that he was very determined, he couldn't say anything more. Anyway, he had already thrown caution to the wind now. There was nothing to worry about. "Yang Ming, although we had some conflicts before, it shouldn't be a big deal, right?" Wei Jin asked tentatively. "Of course, if you say it's not a big deal, it's naturally not a big deal." Yang Ming smiled and thought, "You think that the revenge of killing your father is not a big deal? I can't do anything about it. Okay, then I want to ask you for a favor this time. After the matter is done, you can just say whatever conditions you want." Wei Jin nodded and said. "What's the matter?" asked Yang Ming. "I want you to help me kill a person." Wei Jin hesitated and finally said resentfully. "Kill a person?" Yang Ming was stunned. "You want me to help you kill someone?" He and Wang Xiaoyan looked at each other. Both of them were inexplicable. "I just finished studying the assassin group, and there's a business coming to me. Yang Ming, the only person I can think of now is you." Wei Jin sighed and said pitifully, "Something happened to my family. You must have seen it through the newspaper in the past few days. My dad's men are also finished. I really don't have anyone I can use now. Otherwise, I wouldn't have thought of you. Do you think that I will help you kill someone for money?" Yang Ming sneered and looked at Wei Jin funnily. Wei Jin's expression suddenly stagnated, but he also understood that Yang Ming had to take a great risk, but he really had no other way. If he just found a random person and failed, it would be difficult to kill Zhou Ruoguang a second time. "Yang Ming, I think your skill is very good. It is definitely not a problem to kill someone. Do you think I am a fool?" asked Yang Ming. "That's not it. This person you want to kill, I believe you must hate him very much." Wei Jin said, "He is Zhou Ruoguang, Zhou Ruoguang. Why do you want to kill him?" Yang Ming suddenly felt inexplicable after listening. Aren't these two cousins? Why are they still fighting and killing each other? He infected me with AIDS, this bastard." At the mention of this matter, Wei Jin was so angry that he gritted his teeth. He didn't hide it from Yang Ming, and there was nothing to hide. Otherwise, how could Yang Ming believe him? "AIDS? He infected you?" Yang Ming was stunned, and then his eyes widened. He couldn't help but say, "No way. How can you two men be infected?" Could it be that you are playing with broken arms together? Wei Jin rolled his eyes and said, no, he raped my girlfriend, and then my girlfriend spread it to me. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. This was complicated enough, and then he said, this is why you want to kill him. Yes, he harmed me and my girlfriend. I can't let him have a good time. Wei Jin's face showed a trace of ruthlessness as he said firmly. But, if he has this disease, he won't be able to live long, right? Yang Ming asked curiously. That's not necessarily true. The doctor said that if the treatment is proper, it won't be a problem to live for 20 or 30 years. Wei Jin said, I can't let him live. I want to kill him. Then you came to me. Yang Ming felt that the logic of this matter was a little funny, but Zhou Ruoguang was really a character. He could actually spread the disease to Wei Jin. Yes, can you help me? Wei Jin said, the reward is not a problem, as long as you help me kill him. But, do you think I am short of money? Yang Ming said with a smile, I took such a big risk to help you kill someone. What if the matter is exposed? You don't care. Anyway, you are going all out. What about me? This. Wei Jin also knew that this matter was quite difficult. Moreover, Yang Ming was indeed not short of money. He also knew about Yang Ming's family background afterward. If it was someone in the position of Yang Ming, they would not take this unnecessary risk. Thinking of this, Wei Jin was a little disappointed. If it really didn't work, he could only fight on his own. Whether he could succeed or not, only God knew. However, killing Zhou Ruoguang is a good suggestion. This guy, I have not liked him for a long time. Yang Ming saw Wei Jin's disappointment and changed the topic. For Wei Jin's proposal, Yang Ming was actually very interested. First, Wei Jin promised a generous reward. Second, Zhou Ruoguang was an idiot. Yang Ming had long wanted to kill him. He actually dared to chase after his own wife, and he even chased after two. How could Yang Ming spare him? You mean, you are willing to help me? When Wei Jin heard Yang Ming's words, he was overjoyed and asked quickly. His eyes were full of expectations. It is obviously not possible for me to kill him personally, but I can recommend you a way, said Yang Ming. You mean, you want me to hire someone to kill him? After Wei Jin heard it, his expression became a little gloomy again. It's not that I haven't thought about it, but I'm afraid that the person I hire is too garbage. You know, Zhou Ruoguang is not so easy to kill. He and the Sui family, of course, I naturally won't recommend an ordinary method. Yang Ming waved his hand and smiled. Have you heard of the Professional Assassin Group? Professional Assassin Group? Wei Jin was shocked and quickly asked, can you contact them? Wei Jin naturally heard of assassins and knew that there was a special organization, but he had no connections. He couldn't contact such an organization, so he had no choice but to find Yang Ming. If I say so, of course, I can contact them. Yang Ming smiled. Moreover, I can also tell you how to contact them. Really? Wei Jin was overjoyed after hearing it. How to contact them? You tell me. After the matter is done, I will also thank you. However, the price of this kind of organization is very high. You have to be mentally prepared. Yang Ming waved his hand to signal him to be patient. Of course, your matter is also a piece of cake in their eyes. They can easily help you. The price is not a problem. Wei Jin gritted his teeth. I have decided to sell my family's company. Is the money enough? Sell the company. I'm still thinking about how to cheat Wei Jin's company into my hands, and this guy proposed it first. And, not bad, not bad. You want to sell the company? Yang Ming asked in surprise. Sister Gu and I, who are my girlfriends, have no intention of running the company. If we don't sell it, we will go bankrupt. I will use the money from selling the company for revenge. The savings at home are enough for us to treat our illness and spend the rest of our lives. Wei Jin sighed and said. For a while, after listening to Wei Jin's words, Yang Ming suddenly sighed. Having said that, the hatred between Wei Jin and myself is not very big, but who made his father provoke me again and again? Then, have you contacted the buyer? Asked Yang Ming. How can it be so easy to contact? Wei Jin smiled bitterly. I just had the intention not long ago. It is such a big company. Who can't buy it carefully? Oh, so that's it. Yang Ming pretended to ponder and thought about it. Wei Jin saw that Yang Ming suddenly stopped talking. He didn't know what Yang Ming was thinking, so he didn't dare to disturb him. He just looked at him anxiously. Well, my family just wants to enter the real estate industry. You can sell the company to me. The price is cheaper. Just treat it as returning my favor. Yang Ming pretended to have just made a decision. Sell it to you. Wei Jin was stunned and then said, That's good. Yang Ming, you have helped me a lot. I was worried that I couldn't sell it. You can rest assured that the price will definitely be discounted. I just want to kill Zhou Ruoguang. The money in the deposit is enough for me and Sister Gu. This business is only profitable. Not only did I kill an enemy, but I also got a company for free. Moreover, it has nothing to do with me. It was you who contacted the assassin group to kill him. It can't be related to me. Not only that, but Wei Jin, this fool, is also grateful to the enemy who killed his father. Chapter 1027. In terms of the price, I will definitely not treat you badly. Yang Ming waved his hand and smiled generously. You contact the assassin group and see how much they want. Then, we will study the company. Yang Ming, you are too kind. Wei Jin said emotionally, You are really a good buddy. Although we have some conflicts in the past, I thank you for lending a helping hand when I am in trouble. Thank you. Yang Ming waved his hand and thought, Although I don't have a deep hatred with you, you are also a bad person. I deserve to lie to you. So, he said, you don't have to thank me. I just sympathize with you out of humanitarianism. I don't mean anything else. I understand. Wei Jin didn't care about humanitarianism. As long as Yang Ming helped him solve this big problem, he was satisfied. The contact information of the assassin group, I will tell you now. You take a note, said Yang Ming. Okay. Wei Jin found a piece of paper and said, You can say it. What I will tell you is a URL, 3W. After Yang Ming said the URL, he continued, There is a detailed process on this website. After you apply for the task, there will be a special person to contact you. I don't know much about other things. You can talk about the specifics. Wei Jin nodded again and again. He wrote down the URL and carefully put the paper in his pocket for fear of losing it. If there is nothing else, I will go first. You can call me again about the company. Yang Ming waved his hand and stood up, preparing to leave. Okay, Yang Ming, when there is news, I will contact you immediately. Thank you so much this time. Wei Jin nodded and bowed excitedly to send Yang Ming out of the door. Then, he excitedly took the URL and couldn't wait to contact it. After getting in the car, Wang Xiaoyan sighed and said, Yang Ming, you really dare to ask for an exorbitant price. This is just a small task, and you want a company from others. That is because you haven't seen what a big task is. What is a company? It is possible to give me an island. Yang Ming said indifferently. That's true, but what you gave him was Black Widow's URL. Black Widow has never received such a huge order. Wang Xiaoyan sighed. She thought, Yang Ming is really not simple. Such a business is more than what I have worked for several years. Of course, it is Black Widow. After completing this task, the URL can be cancelled, and Black Widow will disappear. Yang Ming said, in the future, I will not accept domestic business to avoid causing trouble. Wang Xiaoyan nodded and thought, Yang Ming is really bad. The last business is a big fat sheep. However, listening to Wei Jin's tone, the person named Zhou Ruoguang to kill seems to have a grudge with Yang Ming. So she asked, Yang Ming, who is Zhou Ruoguang? Oh, Zhou Ruoguang, an idiot. He pursued Chen Mengyan before, and then pursued Zhao Ying. I have long disliked him. Yang Ming said. Wang Xiaoyan was speechless. This Wei Jin is really unlucky. This time, he was tricked by Yang Ming. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat something? After Yang Ming sent Chen Mengyan home, he didn't eat anything when he came back. He ran directly to Wang Xiaoyan's house. A little. Wang Xiaoyan nodded. What are you going to eat? Near the community, there is a new Sichuan restaurant. I heard that it is very good. Are you interested in trying it? Yang Ming asked. Che, you and Sister Ying went there yesterday, right? Wang Xiaoyan rolled her eyes at Yang Ming. I also heard. Yang Ming was suddenly embarrassed. He didn't expect Zhao Ying to tell Wang Xiaoyan about this. He said with some embarrassment, anyway, it is very delicious. Do you want to try it? Of course, I want to go. Wang Xiaoyan said, today, Sister Ying said that the food there is good. Yang Ming nodded, started the car, and drove in the direction of the community. Wei Jin, on the other hand, couldn't wait to log into the website Yang Ming gave him. Black Widow. Wei Jin looked at the website interface with a black background and read the text above. This name is fierce enough. It has the same name as a poisonous spider in Africa. It must be a violent assassin group. Wei Jin entered the password given to him by Yang Ming and then entered the main page of the assassin group. According to the above process, he filled in his mission intent and the general situation of the target. After doing all this, Wei Jin began to anxiously wait for the other party's reply. Young Master Wei, do you really want to spend so much money to kill Zhou Ruoguang? Sister Gu was a little distressed. How much money is that? Sister Gu, don't call me Young Master Wei in the future. We will be together for a lifetime in the future. There is no need to be so polite. Just call me Wei Jin. Wei Jin waved his hand and said, Zhou Ruoguang must die. Sister Gu, he harmed both of us. If he doesn't die, I will not be at ease in my life. Okay, Wei Jin, but is it really worth it for you to do this? Said Sister Gu. What is worth or not worth it? The savings in the bank are enough for the medical expenses and daily expenses of the two of us. No matter how much money we want, it is useless. We are both patients. What is the use of those worldly possessions? Wei Jin was open-minded and didn't care about anything. Sister Gu sighed melancholically. Indeed, Wei Jin was right. It was really useless for the two of them to ask for so much money. Since Wei Jin must kill Zhou Ruoguang, then let him do it. Okay, I support you. Sister Gu said firmly when she thought of this. Thank you for your understanding. Sister Gu. Wei Jin smiled with relief. Wei Jin, a tragic figure, was destined to become a tragedy. Although he was very pitiful, who could he blame for this? He had only himself to blame for everything that had happened. If he hadn't made a bad move to harm Lu Baoqiang, he would not have fallen into this situation today. Yang Ming parked the car at the door of the Sichuan restaurant and entered the restaurant with Wang Xiaoyan. There are so many people here. Wang Xiaoyan looked at the restaurant full of people and couldn't help but sigh. It was already past mealtime, but there were still so many diners here. One could imagine how delicious the food was. How many people are there in total, sir? The waiter greeted them and asked Yang Ming. 2, said Yang Ming. I'm sorry, sir. The seats are full now. Can you wait for a while? The waiter said apologetically, the private rooms have been reserved in advance. There are really no seats. Oh, how long do we have to wait? Yang Ming looked at the restaurant, and it was indeed full. We can't just stand here all the time, right? Sir, how about this? You leave a mobile phone number, and then walk around nearby. I will call you when there is a seat, okay? The waiter suggested. That's fine. Yang Ming nodded, left his mobile phone number, and then said, when there is a seat, just call me directly. Yang Ming went out of the restaurant with Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan said, Yang Ming, why do you have to eat here? Why do you have to wait? I saw that you were looking forward to it, so I waited. Why don't we wait? Yang Ming asked with a smile. Then let's wait. Wang Xiaoyan actually wanted to try it. She was a little gluttonous cat. Seeing that this place was so popular, she naturally wouldn't miss it. Then let's go sit in the car for a while. Yang Ming said, most of the people in the hall are here to eat, not to drink. There should be a seat soon. The two got into the car together. Yang Ming wanted to turn on the radio, but Wang Xiaoyan's mobile phone rang. Wang Xiaoyan took out the phone, frowned, and hung up directly. Why didn't you pick it up? Yang Ming was a bit puzzled. Why did Wang Xiaoyan hang up the phone? I don't want to pick it up. If I pick it up, I will be in a bad mood. Wang Xiaoyan shook her head and said, I'm in a good mood now. I don't want to ruin it. Oh. Yang Ming didn't ask much. He turned on the radio in the car, casually tuned to a music channel, and listened. It didn't take long for Wang Xiaoyan's mobile phone to ring again. Wang Xiaoyan looked at the caller ID helplessly. Do you want to pick it up? Yang Ming reached for the volume knob of the radio and asked. AI. Wang Xiaoyan sighed and nodded. She picked up the phone and pressed the answer button. Yang Ming also turned the volume of the sound to the minimum. Hello. Wang Xiaoyan picked up the phone. Yan Yan, how have you been recently? A middle-aged man's concerned voice came from the other side of the phone. I'm fine. Wang Xiaoyan replied faintly. Do you miss home? When will you come back? Dad's health hasn't been very good recently, said the person on the other side of the phone. Really? Yang Ming really wanted to slap him, but now his temperament was different from the past. After all, he was old. He wasn't a child anymore. He wasn't so impulsive. You don't know me. The man pointed to himself and said indifferently, my car is parked in front of you. You should be happy. Other people want to have this opportunity, but they don't have it. Yang Ming was inexplicable. Is this person's brain flooded with water? You are blocking my way. Should I be happy? Isn't that a psychopath? I don't know you, and I don't want to know you. Yang Ming's words became rude. Now, please move the car away. Otherwise, you will bear all the consequences. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Ha, are you threatening me? The man raised his hand and pointed at Yang Ming's nose. I tell you, I am the racer, Charles. My fans can drown you with their spit. Do you believe that I can call hundreds of people with a phone call? Charles. I haven't heard of it. I have never been interested in racing. Yang Ming said faintly, I don't care if you are a racer or not. Now, move the car away for the last time. Otherwise, you will bear the consequences. Ha, this is the funniest joke I have ever heard. Isn't it, dear? Charles said to the woman next to him indifferently. Yes, dear. Someone actually talks to you like this. You are the god in the eyes of these drivers. He actually talks to you like this. The woman said disgustingly. Well, then I won't talk nonsense with you. Yang Ming was going to open Charles's car with the lily key in a while, and then drive into a garbage dump. And I will wait and see. I will see what it means to bear the consequences. Ha! Charles smiled disdainfully. If you have the ability, just do it. As soon as Charles's voice fell, he heard a loud bang. Then, what happened suddenly made Yang Ming and him dumbfounded. Yang Ming's BMW was like a runaway wild horse. It quickly hit Charles's sports car and directly smashed the sports car. However, the BMW was not much better. The entire front of the car was beyond recognition. After a long while, Charles reacted and ran quickly to his beloved car. He screamed in pain, "My car, my wife, how did you become like this? Who is so cruel?" Even Yang Ming was stunned. Isn't this too crazy? I just said that Charles would bear the consequences, and the car hit me. Wang Xiaoyan pushed the door from the driver's seat and jumped down as if nothing had happened. Her face was red as she said excitedly, "This time, I feel much better. I was already angry, and you still blocked the road. You deserve to be smashed." Yang Ming was speechless for a while. It turned out that Wang Xiaoyan used Charles's car as a punching bag. He pitted his car, which was also badly hit. Charles squatted on the ground in pain and stroked his beloved car. When the woman saw Wang Xiaoyan get down from the driver's seat and make sarcastic remarks, she was furious. She went forward and waved her hand to slap Wang Xiaoyan. But how could Wang Xiaoyan reach out? If she could be hit by this little girl, then she didn't need to be an assassin. Wang Xiaoyan just casually extended her hand and hit the woman's elbow joint hard. The woman's arm straightened unconsciously as a conditioned reflex. She screamed in pain, "You dare to hit me." Wang Xiaoyan glared and slapped the woman directly. She said, "Don't scream, or I will kill you." When the woman saw Wang Xiaoyan's fierce look, she was shocked and didn't dare to make a sound again. This woman usually followed the car god everywhere and was flattered by others. She was used to being badass. Now that someone didn't buy her words and slapped her directly, she became honest. "You are not ordinary fierce." Yang Ming looked at Wang Xiaoyan with a bitter smile. "What do we do now?" "You have money. You compensate him." Wang Xiaoyan said indifferently. "I have money." Yang Ming shook his head. "You really can find trouble for me. Let's call the police first. The car is fully insured." However, after the police were called, there was a dramatic scene. Charles's car was investigated. It was a modified vehicle without the right-of-way. The insurance company not only did not bear the responsibility of the accident, but after the traffic police came, Charles's car was also detained. Yang Ming didn't care. After the car was towed away, he asked Bao Sonli to follow and deal with it directly. Charles kept saying something to the traffic police to show his identity as a racer. However, compared with Bao Sonli's position in Songjiang, the difference was like heaven and earth. Moreover, it was a car without procedures. Even if there was a reason, it couldn't be explained clearly. In the end, the traffic police was impatient and said to him, "You don't have to think about compensation. Even if your car is repaired, it will be detained and destroyed." Charles was suddenly speechless. He wanted to cry but had no tears. Sure enough, Yang Ming hit the nail on the head. He had to bear the consequences. I want to duel with you. After Charles came out of the traffic police team, he pointed to Yang Ming and shouted, "If you are a man, compete with me once. What's the point of scheming against me behind my back?" "I am scheming against you." "That's funny." Yang Ming smiled disdainfully. "Your car has no procedures." "How would I know? If your procedures were complete, I would have to spend money today." "I don't care. I want to compete with you." Charles screamed. "Not interested," Yang Ming said faintly. He pulled Wang Xiaoyan and was about to leave, but he didn't expect that Wang Xiaoyan suddenly asked, "What do you want to compete with?" "Racing," Charles said firmly. "Are you stupid? You are a professional racer. We can't even be considered as amateurs. You want me to race with you?" Yang Ming shook his head and looked at Charles like he was looking at a fool. Chapter 1029. Charles looked at the two people's receding figures. His lips moved twice, but in the end, he did not say anything. "Charles, what are they talking about?" "What European industry?" Charles's woman asked. "I don't know. Who knows what they are talking about? It's really inexplicable." Charles shook his head, but there was a trace of cold sweat on his forehead. His identity was hidden so deeply, how could it be discovered by others? If it was a well-informed person in the industry, it would be fine. But these two ordinary people he met by chance were actually, "Yin Yin, what happened to you just now? So strange. Did you agree to race with him?" Yang Ming couldn't figure it out. Logically, Wang Xiaoyan wasn't such a reckless person. Who said I was going to race with him? Isn't that looking for death? Wang Xiaoyan smiled and said, "I just wanted to test whether he is that person. I thought it was fun." "Who is he?" Yang Ming asked curiously. "The heir of a European assassin family." Wang Xiaoyan explained, "The third assassin group in the world, the Crocodile Assassin Group. I heard that the only heir of their family did not like to inherit the family business. Instead, he wanted to be a racer and made a name for himself. So, you suspect that Charles is that person?" Yang Ming asked. "Well, I do suspect so." Wang Xiaoyan nodded. "But, there are so many racers. How can you be sure that this Charles is him?" Yang Ming was puzzled. "It's just a guess." Wang Xiaoyan said, "First, that family is Asian. Charles is completely consistent with this. Second, according to insider information, the heir of that family is currently in a racing team in China, just based on these 2 points. Yang Ming was still a little incredulous. "Of course, there is a third point. That is, in the legend, the English name of the heir of this family is Charles." Wang Xiaoyan said with a laugh, "Otherwise, do you think I am a god who can predict?" Fuck. Yang Ming suddenly realized that he was fooled by Wang Xiaoyan. He couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly. "You can just say this directly. What's the first and second point?" "It's not interesting to say it directly." Wang Xiaoyan smiled and said, "However, even so, I am not very sure. So I agreed to his request to race with him. I want to test him further." "I understand." When you said that you want his European industry, his face changed slightly. Although it was only for a moment, it was enough to explain the problem. Yang Ming. "That's right." Wang Xiaoyan nodded and said, "It turns out that you also noticed this." "I did notice it, but I didn't think too much about it." Yang Ming touched his chin and said with some amusement, "At that time, I thought that he was unwilling to pay such a high price." Who knew that there was more to it? However, it doesn't matter if you don't know. I just found out by chance. When I met him just now, I thought about it. She didn't have any extra courage. Time passed by minute by minute. Zhao Ying was still standing in front of the window, looking out of the window without blinking. Suddenly, Zhao Ying's body trembled. She almost lost her balance and fell to the ground. She saw Yang Ming, but Yang Ming was actually holding Wang Xiaoyan's hand. The two of them walked over while talking and laughing. Zhao Ying only felt that her breathing was rapid, and her mind was blank. She just stared blankly at Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan together, passing by the front of the villa, and then entered Wang Xiaoyan's villa. Zhao Ying came back to her senses. Her face was pale, and she held the wall. Her heart was like a bottle of mixed feelings that had been knocked over. Tears began to roll in her eyes. "Miss Zhao, what's wrong with you?" Auntie Leaf saw that Zhao Ying's expression and actions weren't right, so she quickly asked. "No, nothing." Zhao Ying shook her head and said sadly, "I'm a little dizzy, that's all, then rest on the sofa for a while." Auntie Lee advised, "Let me get you something to eat, or—" "It's really not necessary, Auntie Lee." Zhao Ying sat on the sofa and shook her head sadly. Now, how could she still have the mood to eat? Looking at the small box in her hand, Zhao Ying didn't know what to do. Why? Why did Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan have to lie to me? They are obviously together, but they still lie to me and say that they have nothing to do with each other. Zhao Ying bit her lip and didn't know what to do. The two of them have already held hands. Could it be that there is no other relationship? However, this didn't mean anything. Zhao Ying could only comfort herself like this. Perhaps they are really just friends. They just hold hands. It should be fine for good friends to hold hands, right? I used to be good friends with Yang Ming. Didn't we hold hands? Miss Zhao, it's really late. Why don't you call Mr. Yang? Auntie Leaf said with some worry. No, I will wait for him here. Zhao Ying sighed. She still had an illusion in her heart. The illusion was that Yang Ming just went to Wang Xiaoyan's house as a guest, and he would be back in a while. Auntie Leek shook her head helplessly. However, she was just a nanny. She couldn't interfere and ask about Mr. Yang's matters. Otherwise, she would call Yang Ming personally. The night was quiet. Zhao Ying sat alone on the sofa in the living room. Auntie Li would come out to make her a cup of hot tea every once in a while. Zhao Ying was a little embarrassed and said to Auntie Li, "Auntie Li, you don't have to care about me. You go and rest. I'm fine. I used to serve the patients. I'm used to the life of waking up and sleeping." Auntie Li smiled indifferently. Time passed quietly. Unknowingly, half of the night had passed. Yang Ming still hadn't come back. Looking at Wang Xiaoyan's villa next to her, the lights were turned off. Zhao Ying's nose was sour, and tears fell down. Hearing the movement behind her, Zhao Ying quickly wiped her tears. She looked back and saw Auntie Li coming over with a cup of cereal. Eat some cereal. Otherwise, you really can't do it if you don't eat anything. Thank you. Seeing that Auntie Li had already sent the cereal to her, Zhao Ying had to take it and drink it slowly. Although the cereal was very fragrant and sweet, Zhao Ying didn't have any appetite for it. The remaining hope in her heart was getting less and less. Finally, Zhao Ying sighed. It seemed that Yang Ming wouldn't come back tonight. The sky had already shown a little white color. The sky was finally bright. The night had passed. Zhao Ying sighed and looked at the small box in her hand. She put it on the coffee table next to her. She thought about it and picked it up again. This repeated a few times. Zhao Ying finally took it back in her hand. Then, she said to Auntie Lee, I'm leaving. Oh, Miss Xiao, you're leaving. Auntie Lee also sighed and came out to send her off. This kind of good thing is naturally given to his little sister. Yang Ming heard that Qin Fei wasn't displeased at all. Instead, he excused Xia Bingbao. He was relieved. Uncle Qin, it's good that you're not angry. Yang Ming smiled and said, I was afraid that you would be unhappy. Is your Uncle Qin such a stingy person? Qin Fei laughed and said, however, in the future, Uncle Chen's official career will borrow your father's glory. During the Chinese New Year, I went out to eat with your father. The people I contacted were all big leaders in the province. After listening to Uncle Chen's words, Yang Ming couldn't help but feel a little emotional. His father had actually become so sophisticated and slick. When dealing with officials and businessmen, he had also become so skillful. It has to be said that the environment can make a person. His parents used to be people who were not good with words, but now they had their own careers and lived a good life every day. Uncle Qin, are you always with my father? Yang Ming didn't know that his father was often with Uncle Qin. We are in-laws. I eat and drink together with your father. No one can find fault with it. Uncle Qin laughed. However, I say, Uncle Qin, your leg hasn't recovered yet. Can you go drinking? Yang Ming couldn't help but smile bitterly after listening. You are the first one to go drinking with a cane. Ha! Qin Fei's old face blushed and laughed. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about business. And, Uncle Qin, if you have anything, just say it. Yang Ming said. This is the case. Chen Mingyan's second uncle, Chen Dezhuang. Do you know him? Qin Fei explained, you and Mengyan have met together. Chen Afu's father, I know. Did he come to you to plead? Asked Yang Ming. He didn't plead. He just wanted to meet with Chen Afu. Qin Fei said with some emotion, Chen Dezhuang is a very bitter person. He committed some crimes in his early years and went to prison. It was not easy to be released from prison, but his son. Then let's meet. Uncle Qin, you also know that Chen Afu is detained by the Investigation Bureau. If you want to meet, you can only communicate with Xia Bingbao. Yang Ming said. I've communicated with old Xia. He said that you were the one who caught him, so he wanted me to ask for your opinion. This guy. Qin Fei smiled bitterly. I said that I was your father-in-law, and he said no. It really pisses me off. That's why I called you immediately. If that's the case, then I will call him now. Uncle Qin, wait for my call. Yang Ming said. Okay. Qin Fei quickly agreed and hung up the phone. Immediately afterward, Yang Ming dialed Xia Bingbao's phone. Xia Bingbao answered the phone quickly as usual. Yang Ming, right? What's the matter? You know the answer, don't you? Yang Ming said with annoyance. He just hung up Qin Fei's phone call. Yang Ming roughly figured out the key to the matter. He also knew why Xia Bingbao wanted Qin Fei to find him. What do you mean by knowing the answer? Xia Bingbao laughed twice. Okay, don't talk so much nonsense. Chen Dezhuang, Chen Afu's father, wants to see Chen Afu. You arrange it for him. Yang Ming said straightforwardly. Okay, but... Xia Bingbao just wanted to speak, but the phone had already indicated that the call was over. Yang Ming hung up the phone. Xia Bingbao was so angry that he just wanted to curse. He had prepared some words to say, but now there was no chance. He wanted to call back and continue talking, but he thought about it and decided not to. He was also an elder. He couldn't argue with Yang Ming, a junior. Yang Ming saw through Xia Bingbao's thoughts. Naturally, he didn't give him a chance to speak. Yang Ming helped Xia Bingbao make a big contribution. It was reasonable for Xia Bingbao to express his gratitude. Yang Ming didn't want the credit, but he gave it to Xia Shui. As a result, Xia Bingbao felt that he owed Yang Ming a big favor, so he tried to find a way to return it to Yang Ming. Therefore, when Chen Fei asked him for help, he asked Yang Ming to call him instead. In this way, it was equivalent to returning Yang Ming's favor. After figuring out the key to the matter, how could Yang Ming give Xia Bingbao a chance to speak? If you owe me a favor, then so be it. You owe me until you feel guilty. Yang Ming didn't delay. He called Chen Fei again and told him the result of the matter. Chen Fei was very happy. He said that he would immediately contact Xia Bingbao and let Chen Dazhuang meet Chen Afu as soon as possible. After dealing with Chen Dazhuang's matter, the bath water was also boiled. Yang Ming lay in the bathtub and soaked. He was very comfortable. When he thought that this bathtub was only used by Wang Xiaoyan, he couldn't help but feel excited. However, he didn't soak for long before the phone call came in again. Yang Ming didn't want to answer it, but he had no choice. He saw that the caller ID was still Chen Mingyan's home. This phone call really couldn't be ignored. Whether it was Uncle Chen or Chen Mingyan, he couldn't neglect them. He had no choice but to wipe the water droplets on his hands and pick up the phone. "Hello, Uncle Chen." Yang Ming didn't dare to say wife this time. "And, it's me. I contacted Xia Bingbao." Chen Fei said, "However, he asked you to take Chen Dazhuang to visit Chen Afu. Why should I go? Can't you just go? Isn't it the same no matter who goes?" Yang Ming asked, baffled. "That's true, but Xia Bingbao, that guy, specifically asked you to go. I can't help it." Chen Fei said helplessly, "However, the Bureau of Investigation has a secret office in every city. It should not be known by outsiders." Yang Ming thought, "What do you mean by not letting outsiders know? The police aren't outsiders, right? I'm sure this Xia Bingbao isn't reconciled that I just hung up the phone. He wants to find another opportunity to make things clear." However, since things had come to this point, Yang Ming had no choice but to nod and accept this task. "I can't reject Chen Fei, right?" "Well, Uncle Chen, when should I go?" asked Yang Ming. "It's best to go as soon as possible." Chen Fei said, "Chen Afu may be transferred away in 2 days. So, I'm afraid it will be too late." "Well, I will go in a while," Yang Ming had to say. Originally, he wanted to relax with Wang Xiaoyan today. Now it seemed that there was no time. "Okay, I will contact Chen Dazhuang now and ask him to come to my house. When you arrive in a while, you will depart." Chen Fei said, "Right," and Meng Yin. Yang Ming wanted to hang up the phone. When he heard the news about Meng Yin, Yang Ming was immediately shocked. He asked, "What happened to Meng Yin?" "Meng Yin caught a cold. When you come, help her buy some medicine," Chen Fei said. "What? Meng Yin caught a cold. Why didn't you say so earlier?" Yang Ming was shocked and quickly jumped out of the bathtub. He was still thinking about going to Chen Fei's house for a while, but now he didn't want to stay for a moment. It's too cold at home. Maybe she wasn't used to it for a while. She slept all night yesterday. When she got up in the morning, she started to have a fever and sneeze. Chen Fei said, "She has become delicate after living with you for a few days." Chapter 1031. Zhao Ying clutched the small box tightly and walked out of Yang Ming's villa in a daze. She had endured a huge amount of courage to come here and wait for Yang Ming, but what she waited for was indeed Xiao Ying's tears fell like rain. No matter how the cold wind blew on her face, the crystal-clear tears froze into ice beads. There was no difference at all. Only when her eyelashes were covered in ice and she couldn't close her eyes did Xiao Ying realize, but she didn't care. She didn't care what others thought of her now. She didn't have the heart to care about these things. Stumbling back home, Xiao Ying finally lost all her strength. Sitting on the sofa, she fell into a daze. She thought back to the day before yesterday, sitting here with Yang Ming, talking and laughing as if it was right in front of her eyes. She thought back to the moonlit night in the 3rd year of high school, when Yang Ming wanted to kiss her, but she rejected him. She thought back to the New Year's temple fair, when she and Yang Ming accidentally kissed. Then she thought back to the night before yesterday, when she and Yang Ming were willing to kiss. All of this was vivid in her mind, but it seemed to have become distant. Xiao Ying didn't understand. Why did Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan lie to her? It wasn't like she couldn't accept it. She liked Yang Ming, so she would accept everything about him. She clearly knew that he had other girlfriends, but she still threw herself at him like a moth to a flame. None of this was important. What was important was Yang Ming's feelings for her, and whether he loved her. If it was yesterday, Xiao Ying would have believed this, but today, Xiao Ying was a little confused. She originally thought that Yang Ming really went to Wang Xiaoyan's house to look for her. Xiao Ying's heart was shy and excited at the same time. Impulsively, she ran home, took the item and came to Yang Ming's villa. But Auntie Li told her that Yang Ming went out and probably wouldn't come back. Xiao Ying's enthusiasm immediately fell to the bottom, but she resisted the disappointment in her heart, hoping for a miracle to happen. So she waited foolishly in Yang Ming's villa. She didn't expect that to be the case. Yang Ming and her best friend were walking hand in hand, and Yang Ming was spending the night at her best friend's house. This made Xiao Ying lose her confidence. Thinking back to the past bits and pieces, it seemed that Yang Ming was really indifferent to her. Could it be that he was just perfunctory to her and perfunctory mother? To fulfill his obligation to pretend to be her boyfriend. Originally, Xiao Ying, but when she thought of this, she couldn't stop thinking about it. The more she thought, the more she thought, the more she thought it was possible. Otherwise, why did Yang Ming and I only make progress after such a long time? And Wang Xiaoyan, whom I met after that, had already developed to the point where they were living together. Perhaps, there were some twists and turns, but why didn't Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming tell the truth to me? Did they think of me as a child? Couldn't they see it? Xiao Ying shook her head in pain. Perhaps Yang Ming was good to me just because he didn't want me to be sad. It was a kind of obligation. It was said that women in love were stupid. In fact, women in lovesickness were the same. Xiao Ying only thought about Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan, but she ignored her own attitude. If it weren't because of her hesitation, would she and Yang Ming be in such a situation now? However, Xiao Ying thought that the person Yang Ming really liked was Wang Xiaoyan, and Wang Xiaoyan didn't want her to be sad, so she hid it from her with Yang Ming. So, she ignored an important thing, that was, Yang Ming had always been a very loving person. Looking at the small box in her hand, the joys and sorrows of life welled up in her heart. She raised her hand and wanted to throw it away, but she was reluctant. She raised her hand several times and put it down several times. In the end, Xiao Ying had to laugh at herself helplessly and put the box on the shelf in the hall. Xiao Ying didn't know what she should do. She didn't know what she could do. At this moment, the only thing she could do was cry, curl up in bed, and sleep. It would be best if she never woke up. After turning off her phone, Xiao Ying locked all the doors and windows, went into the bedroom, curled up in the quilt, and thought about what had happened during this time. She choked up. After Yang Ming put down the phone, he sped up the shower. There was no other way. His father-in-law had invited him. How could he not be quick? Although his father-in-law had a favor to ask of him, he still had to rush over. The bathroom door was suddenly pushed open. Wang Xiaoyan walked in a daze, showing that she didn't see Yang Ming. Yang Ming found it strange. Why was this girl always like this? She was like this from the first time he saw her. She was so muddle-headed. How could she be an assassin? Yang Ming found it incredible. He saw Wang Xiaoyan reach for the hot water valve. Yang Ming was shocked. The moment Wang Xiaoyan opened the valve, he jumped out of the bathtub and exclaimed, "Wang Xiaoyan, what are you doing? Are you trying to murder your husband?" Ah! Wang Xiaoyan was completely awakened by Yang Ming's exclamation. She opened her eyes in a daze and saw Yang Ming standing in the bathroom naked. She frowned and was a little puzzled. "You're standing here naked in the morning. Are you acting like a hooligan?" "Do I need to act like a hooligan with you?" Yang Ming said angrily, "I'm taking a shower. You came over and turned on the hot water. Do you want to burn me to death?" Fortunately, I reacted quickly. If it were an ordinary person, they would have been barbecued by you. Do you think that ordinary people can use my bathtub to take a shower? Wang Xiaoyan yawned indifferently. If you are going to be burned to death, it's better. Let me see your weight as soon as possible so that I don't have to entrust the future of the assassin group to you. Only the future of the assassin group. And your future. Yang Ming turned off the hot water valve. The bath water was a little cold. Just adding some hot water made it hot again. Yang Ming reached out and tested the temperature of the water. It was just right. I'm too lazy to care about you. Wang Xiaoyan rolled her eyes at Yang Ming and said, "Hurry up. I'll take a shower after you're done. Let's take a shower together." Yang Ming smiled, and his thoughts began to become dirty again. Wash your head. Such a small bathtub. 2 people going in. Wang Xiaoyan glared at Yang Ming. Don't leave it hanging. Hurry up and go in. I don't want to appreciate your naked appearance. Yang Ming yawned and jumped into the bathtub again. Yang Ming, why are you up so early? Wang Xiaoyan simply didn't leave and sat directly on a chair in the bathroom. Every morning, the first thing she did when she woke up was to take a shower so that she could be fully awake. Now, she was not fully awake, and she was too lazy to go back. I went out to do something. Yang Ming said, I will probably come back in the afternoon. You can arrange it yourself during the day. Oh. The relationship between Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming was very good, but in the end, it was a cooperative relationship in name. She had no right to interfere with Yang Ming's normal life. Moreover, Wang Xiaoyan didn't want to know so much. She was also afraid that she would fall too deep. Because last night, they had dinner together. On the way back, when Yang Ming held her hand, Wang Xiaoyan had a very subtle feeling in her heart. She was a little excited and nervous. Although Wang Xiaoyan had never been in a relationship, she had read similar books. When she had this feeling, Wang Xiaoyan realized that it was not good. Could it be that I have feelings for Yang Ming? This is not a good sign. Wang Xiaoyan reminded herself in her heart. Don't fall into it. Our relationship is just a partnership, not a relationship between lovers. The purpose of me running away from home is to establish the world's most powerful assassin group, not to flirt with a boy. But now, it seems that the situation is reversed. All the matters of the assassin group are handled by Yang Ming. I have nothing to do with it. The only thing I do every day is to eat, talk, and sleep with Yang Ming. 3 companions. Wang Xiaoyan broke into a sweat. However, how could this thing be effective just because of a reminder? Wang Xiaoyan may not realize it herself. In many things, the onlooker can't see clearly. No matter how much I remind myself, it won't have much effect. Are you done showering? Wang Xiaoyan saw Yang Ming jump into the bathtub again and asked impatiently. I'm done. Why don't you do it? Yang Ming stood up and jumped out of the bathtub. He grabbed a towel from the shelf and wiped his body. Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan suddenly widened her eyes and looked at Yang Ming angrily. What's wrong? Yang Ming was somewhat inexplicable by Wang Xiaoyan's sudden shout. He stopped wiping his body. Yang Ming, you actually used the towel I used to wipe my face to wipe your dick. Wang Xiaoyan was so angry that she pointed at the towel in Yang Ming's hand. Ugh! Yang Ming quickly wiped his body with the towel and said, This is the towel you used to wipe your face. I really don't know, but I just showered. It's clean, that won't do. Wang Xiaoyan said angrily. Anyway, it's not dirty. Besides, you still used your mouth last night. Yang Ming continued to say shamelessly. Don't say it. You go to hell. Wang Xiaoyan grabbed the towel in Yang Ming's hand and pushed him to the door. Hurry up and leave. I don't want to see you. Yang Ming helplessly left the bathroom. He smiled bitterly and went back to the bedroom to put on his clothes. He thought, I just said a fact. Is it necessary to kick me out? I still want to see the picture of the butterfly girl coming out of the shower. I was just talking nonsense. Yang Ming slapped his thigh. He thought, this is bad. Qin Fei is still waiting for me at home. When they passed by the pharmacy on the way, Yang Ming got off and bought some cold medicine. When they arrived at Qin Mingyan's house, Yang Ming asked Zhang Zhishin to wait for him here. He went upstairs alone. Qin Dazhuang had already arrived. Qin Fei had probably told him that Yang Ming had a way to help him, so Qin Dazhuang greeted Yang Ming very warmly. Little Yang, you are here. Yang Ming nodded, but he didn't have the mood to chat with him. He just said to Qin Fei, Uncle Qin, where is Qin Mengyan? How is she? In her room, lying in bed. She doesn't eat breakfast. You should go and see her. Qin Fei sighed and pointed to Qin Mingyan's door. Yang Ming walked quickly to the front of Qin Mingyan's room. Just as he was about to knock on the door, Qin Fei said, the door is not locked. You can go in directly. Yang Ming pushed it. Sure enough, the door was not locked. After he went in, he closed the door again. However, he saw Qin Mengyan lying in bed with her eyes closed. Her face was very pale. Mengyan, how are you? I came to see you. Yang Ming sat on Qin Mengyan's bed, took her little hand, and asked softly. Qin Mengyan had already woken up, but her whole body was cold, so she curled up in the quilt and didn't want to move. When she heard Yang Ming's voice, Qin Mengyan was suddenly happy. She opened her eyes and looked at Yang Ming. Why are you here? I heard from Uncle Qin that you were sick, so I rushed over. Right, I bought medicine for you. You should take it first. Yang Ming suddenly thought of a problem. Have you not eaten yet? Qin Mengyan nodded slightly. Then you should eat something first before taking the medicine. Yang Ming hesitated and said, I am going to get something. You wait for me. Originally, Qin Mengyan didn't have much appetite, but when she saw that Yang Ming was very good to her, she didn't object. Yang Ming went out of Qin Mengyan's room. Qin Fei and Qin Dazhuang were talking in the living room. It seemed that Qin Fei was persuading Qin Dazhuang. Dazhuang, Qin Afu brought this upon himself. You don't have to be too guilty. Qin Fei sighed. Qin Fei, I also know that it's all my fault. I committed a crime in the past and went to prison. I didn't educate Afu well, so he became like this now. Chen Dazhuang complained, thinking about how he harmed so many people. I feel uneasy in my heart. Forget it, Dazhuang. Ah Fu also got the punishment he deserved. Don't think so much. You're still young. Quickly find a way to survive and start a family. That's the most important thing. Chen Fei advised. As they were talking, they saw Yang Ming come out, so Chen Fei asked, Yang Ming, have you seen Meng Yan? Can you go now? Meng Yan didn't eat anything. She can't take the medicine. I plan to come out and see if there is anything to eat. I will give her some and let her take the medicine. Yang Ming said. Meng Yan's mother made porridge. It is in the kitchen. Uncle Chen, Meng Yan ate some porridge and took the medicine. Let's go, said Yang Ming. Hee, you still have a way. Meng Yan's mother and I didn't eat it no matter what we said. Chen Fei said with a smile, when you came, she ate it. It seems that the power of love is still great. Uncle Chen, you are kidding. Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. Hee, you go quickly. Xia Bingbao has already informed them. The car is probably downstairs, said Chen Fei. Yang Ming nodded and went downstairs with Chen Dazhuang. Sure enough, they saw a very strange shape. It was a military green car with a military license plate parked downstairs in Chen Mingyan's home. Yang Ming and Chen Dazhuang went downstairs. The door of the car opened. Xia Bingbao jumped down from above. When he saw Yang Ming, he smiled and said, You kid, you actually hung up on me. I was taking a shower. How can I have time to talk to you? Yang Ming smiled awkwardly. This guy is not going to let me go. Get in the car. Xia Bingbao nodded to Chen Dazhuang. Chen Dazhuang immediately followed Xia Bingbao in fear and trepidation and walked in the direction of the car. Xia Bingbao opened the back door of the car and let Chen Dazhuang get in the car. Yang Ming wanted to follow, but he was stopped by Xia Bingbao. What are you doing? You sit in front. The back door slowly closed. Xia Bingbao got into the driver's seat, and Yang Ming sat in the passenger seat. Chapter 1033. The rear door slowly closed. Xia Bingbao got into the driver's seat, and Yang Ming sat in the passenger seat. Just now, when the rear door opened, Yang Ming had already seen the situation inside. It was completely closed. Once the door was closed, he couldn't see the situation outside. The location is very confidential. Are you afraid that he will know? After Yang Ming got in the car, he asked Xia Bingbao. Yes, I have already made an exception to let him meet with Chen Afu. If it weren't for your face, this request would not be agreed, replied Xia Bingbao. Then why did you let me sit in the front? Aren't you afraid that I will know the location? Yang Ming smiled. If I let you sit in the back, can't you see? Xia Bingbao glared at Yang Ming and said helplessly. He was very clear about what this guy's special ability was. The two looked at each other and smiled. They both knew what each other was referring to. I know the purpose of you calling me here. Isn't it because you don't want to owe me a favor? Okay, it doesn't matter. I won't ask you for anything anyway. Yang Ming saw that Xia Bingbao deliberately wanted to repay his favor, so he simply said generously. When Yang Ming said this, Xia Bingbao was a little embarrassed. Yang Ming might become his brother-in-law in the future. If the relationship was too stiff, there was no way to get along in the future. So, he said awkwardly, do you think I am that kind of person? I called you here just to let you familiarize yourself with the office here and get to know each other. It will be convenient to do things in the future. Really? Yang Ming obviously didn't believe it. Of course, it's true. Xia Bingbao said, no one can erase your contributions. You can rest assured. Then, I will believe you for the time being. Yang Ming didn't care much about this, because he didn't regard what he was doing as his main job. Catching Chen Afu was just a piece of cake. If he really had to do something risky, he might as well be an assassin. Yang Ming didn't care much about this because he didn't regard what he was doing as his main job. Is there someone following behind? Xia Bingbao's senses were very keen. He immediately felt that someone was following behind the car. No, it's my man. Yang Ming looked in the rearview mirror and said, I'll tell him. After that, Yang Ming took out his phone and called Zhang Jishin. He told Zhang Jishin to wait for him downstairs in Chen Mingyan's neighborhood. The car drove all the way forward and soon drove out of Songjiang City and entered the highway out of the city. Near the toll booth at the highway intersection, there was a team of people checking cars. They were jointly composed of local and military officials. However, when Xia Bingbao passed by, the inspector just glanced at the investigation pass placed in the lower left corner of the car windshield and let him pass. The license plate numbers of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau were all separate, and there was also a pass from the bureau in front, so it couldn't be fake. Your car is pretty awesome, Yang Ming said with a smile. You also have a car. I'm just afraid that you won't drive it. Xia Bingbao knew that Yang Ming was just saying it casually. He was definitely not really interested in this. If Yang Ming was interested in the power of the bureau, it wouldn't be like this now. The car turned into the side road at a fork in the road ahead, then turned right to a very deserted path. They moved forward with potholes all the way and finally entered a courtyard that looked like a factory. However, when they entered the courtyard, they found that it was different. It was heavily guarded, and there were many sentries. They were all armed. Yang Ming and Xia Bingbao got out of the car and walked to the office building with Chen Dazhuang. Chen Dazhuang didn't feel that there was anything wrong with it because he hadn't seen much of the world. He thought that this was a place similar to a detention center, so it was reasonable to have many sentries. When they came to a door, Xia Bingbao opened the door, and the three people walked in together. This was the temporary place where Chen Afu was detained. Chen Afu was writing something on the desk inside. When he saw someone come in, he looked up and saw Chen Dazhuang. He was stunned. Afu! Chen Dazhuang ran over in a few steps, but because there was a large glass in the middle, he could only look at Chen Afu from the outside. Why are you here? Chen Afu looked at Chen Dazhuang in surprise. Afu, I am your father. I am here to see you. Chen Dazhuang's tears came out. He looked at Chen Afu and said, Afu, although you have broken the law and done wrong things, you are still my son after all. You go. I don't want to see you. Chen Afu was flustered and said quickly. Afu, you still can't forgive your father. Back then, Chen Dazhuang wanted to say it, but Chen Afu turned his head and stopped listening. Chen Dazhuang stood outside and looked for a long time. He sighed and turned to go out the door. Yang Ming was slightly annoyed. How can this Chen Afu be so heartless? Chen Dazhuang wanted to see him, so he asked people to find him. He finally came, but he ignored him. Brother Xia, you go out with second Uncle Chen first. I will talk to Chen Afu. Yang Ming frowned and said. Xia Bingbao nodded and went out the door. Although he didn't know what Yang Ming was going to do, he believed that Yang Ming wouldn't do anything that would harm the interests of the investigation bureau. Just in time, Yang Ming, I also have something to say to you. Chen Afu listened to Yang Ming's words and said quickly. You said. What do you want to say to me? How hard is it for your father to see you? He found Chen Mingyan's father and found a lot of connections to see you, but you ignored him. Seeing Yang Ming come out, Chen Dazhuang quickly greeted him and asked in a hurry, Yang Ming, what did Afu say? Second Uncle Chen Afu said that he still wants to see you alone. Yang Ming said, you go quickly. He is waiting for you inside. Chen Dazhuang's face was happy. He also understood in his heart that Yang Ming must have said something to Chen Afu, so Chen Afu changed his mind. He nodded gratefully and went in. I didn't expect you to be so good at enlightening people. After Chen Dazhuang went in, Xia Bingbao smiled and said to Yang Ming. You heard it all. Yang Ming glanced at Xia Bingbao and asked with a smile. N. Xia Bingbao pointed to the mini earplugs in his ear and said, however, I didn't mean to eavesdrop. I just listened to the movements inside at all times. I understand. You don't have to explain. Yang Ming waved his hand and smiled indifferently. Just in case, it was natural for Xia Bingbao to monitor the situation inside. Yang Ming naturally wouldn't care about this. After about half an hour, Chen Dazhuang walked out of the room with red eyes. Of course, the conversation between him and Chen Afu was also passed to Xia Bingbao and Yang Ming's ears. Both of them were somewhat moved. Chen Dazhuang got what he wanted. He also knew that his son would use the rest of his life to make contributions to society to atone for his sins. His heart was a lot calmer. He said to Yang Ming and Xia Bingbao, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Okay, let's go back. Chapter 1034. On the way back from the investigation bureau, Chen Dazhuang was still arranged to sit at the back. However, his expression was very sad and sad. Yang Ming hesitated and said to Xia Bingbao, I will sit at the back later. Xia Bingbao knew that Yang Ming wanted to enlighten Chen Dazhuang, so he nodded and agreed. The rear door slowly closed, and the lights in the car lit up. The environment inside was obviously good. There were very comfortable seats and an automatic water dispenser. Second Uncle Chen. After getting in the car, Yang Ming looked at Chen Dazhuang's expression and advised, Chen Afu's current result is already the best. Don't be sad anymore. Chen Dazhuang nodded and said, I understand, but after all, he is my son. He has done so many wrong things. As a father, I also feel guilty in my heart. Second Uncle Chen, things in this world are hard to say. You don't have to be too sad. Maybe one day, Chen Afu may use his own actions to exchange for his freedom. Yang Ming knew that this possibility was almost zero, but this white lie was harmless. So, Second Uncle Chen, I think you should find a job now and live well. This is the right thing to do. Is what you said true? Afu still has a chance to come back. After Chen Dazhuang heard it, there was a hint of joy on his face. He also saw that Yang Ming had a good relationship with Xia Bingbao, the person in charge of this case. He didn't know what role Yang Ming played, but he felt that Yang Ming's words still had some credibility. There will definitely be opportunities, but this is not easy to fight for. It depends on him, said Yang Ming. It's good that there is a chance. Chen Dazhuang also showed a smile. You are right. I will work hard to live and wait for the day when Afu comes back. As for the job, Second Uncle Chen, you don't have to worry. I still have some connections in Songjiang. Yang Ming smiled and said, however, I don't dare to talk about those high positions. You can start from an ordinary position. I just got out of prison not long ago. Why would a normal place want me? It's good to have a stable job. Why would I be picky? Chen Dazhuang smiled bitterly. If you, Yang Ming, can help me find a job, then I would be very grateful. I'm not afraid of being dirty or tired. I've worked a lot in prison. I'm fine as long as you want me. That's not necessary. Weren't you involved in company trading before? How about this? You can go to Mingyang Heavy Industry to be a salesperson. As long as you do well, you don't have to worry about not having a chance to be promoted, said Yang Ming. Ah, that's great. I'll definitely do my best. Chen Dazhuang was both surprised and delighted as he hurriedly promised. In fact, Yang Ming just casually arranged a position for him. It was not an important position, so it was not a big deal. Furthermore, the position of a salesperson was one where the more work one did, the less one got paid. How much one earned depended on one's own hard work. Yang Ming didn't contact his father directly. Instead, he called Wang Jinda and asked him to help arrange it. Wang Jinda was a person on Bao Sanli's side. He naturally obeyed Yang Ming's words. Back at Chen Mingyan's home, Yang Ming was pleasantly surprised to find that Chen Mingyan could already walk. It seemed that the cold medicine had worked. Mingyan, why aren't you sleeping? It's better to sleep a little more. Yang Ming smiled and sat next to Chen Mingyan. At this moment, Chen Mingyan was watching TV on the sofa. I'm awake. I'm not sleepy. Chen Mingyan said, I feel much better. I may be fine after taking some medicine. What a pity. Yang Ming pretended to be disappointed. What's a pity? Chen Mingyan was inexplicable. It's a pity that you can move by yourself. You don't need me to feed you porridge. Yang Ming sighed and said. You're so annoying. Chen Mingyan blushed and complained. Chen Mingyan's illness was not fully recovered. Yang Ming couldn't immediately take her back to the villa. Although both of them were reluctant, they didn't dare to do anything out of line under the eyes of Qin Fei and Mother Qin. On the way back, Yang Ming received a call from Wang Xiaoyan. Wei Jin applied for a mission to assassinate Zhou Ruoguang on the internet. Although Yang Ming coveted Wei Jin's company, he didn't want to be involved in hiring a murderer. After all, once he was involved, it would be difficult to get away. Therefore, he asked Wei Jin to find an assassin company. In this way, it had little to do with him. Have you contacted him? Asked Yang Ming. Not yet. Didn't you talk to him? I don't know what to do. Wang Xiaoyan said. Okay, I got it. Yang Ming said, let's talk about it when I go back. According to Yang Ming's idea, he could just find a person in Li Chang's training camp, and it was enough to complete this heavy task. Back at Wang Xiaoyan's villa, Yang Ming saw Wei Jin's mission request on Wang Xiaoyan's computer. However, this guy was really funny. He actually left a message saying that he had to kill Zhou Ruoguang at all costs. Yang Ming smiled and called Bao Sanli and asked, what is the approximate market value of Dikang real estate? Is it calculated according to the normal price, or is the price lowered? Although Bao Sanli was very inexplicable why Yang Ming would ask this, he still answered truthfully. Of course, it is the normal price. There is no need to lower the price. Yang Ming thought, this is just a matter of getting from the left pocket to the right pocket. The price has nothing to do with me. Okay, Brother Yang, wait a moment. I will ask someone to calculate it, and then I will call you back, said Bao Sanli. Okay, hurry up. Yang Ming was eager to know the price of Dikang real estate, so he could give Wei Jin an exorbitant price. If Yang Ming made the assassin group the strongest in the world, then it was fine. In that case, she could naturally enjoy her life. But if Yang Ming did not make the assassin group the strongest, what should she do? Do I have to obey the fate arranged by my father, return to the family, and marry the apprentice of the so-called king of assassins that I don't like and have never seen before? Thinking of this, Wang Xiaoyan was a little upset. She couldn't help but frown. What's wrong? Yang Ming also saw that Wang Xiaoyan seemed to have something on her mind, so he asked. Nothing. Wang Xiaoyan sighed faintly and shook her head. I suddenly remembered some unhappy things, but it doesn't matter. Why don't I give you the opportunity tonight? Yang Ming coaxed Wang Xiaoyan happily. Hee, this is what you said. Wang Xiaoyan did not even decline and directly agreed. Yang Ming thought, don't you know what is modesty? However, the words that were said were spilled water. It was impossible to take it back. He could only accept it. Well, I said it. Yang Ming smiled and said, are you happy now? And, it's okay. Wang Xiaoyan smiled and said, Yang Ming, when can we get a big mission, the kind recognized by the International Assassin Ranking System? Soon, right? Yang Ming didn't know if there was news from Fang Tian's side. There is no hurry. Let's wait. The school is about to start. It is not good to leave at this time. Chapter 1035. That's fine. After I start school, I will move to the main campus. It will be more convenient to contact in the future, said Wang Xiaoyan. As they were talking, Yang Ming's phone rang. It was Bao Sonli. Hey, how is it? Is the result out? Yang Ming picked up the phone and asked impatiently. And, the preliminary evaluation results are out. The total market value of Dikang Real Estate and its property companies is about 200 million yuan, but they still owe the bank a loan of more than 100 million yuan. The specific number is not clear yet. I am asking someone to inquire, said Bao Sonli. In other words, the real value of Dikang Real Estate is only a few tens of millions, asked Yang Ming after listening. The price didn't have much to do with him, but he had to figure out how much it was so that he could quote Wei Jin. It should be like this, but I can only give you the specific information after the data comes out, said Bao Sonli. Well, contact me immediately when you have the specific results, said Yang Ming. How is it? Hanging up the phone, Wang Xiaoyan asked anxiously. After all, it was related to the assassin group. Wang Xiaoyan was particularly concerned. The company is probably worth tens of millions. The specific results have not come out yet. When the results come out, let's find someone to talk to Wei Jin, said Yang Ming. Bao Sonli called again. The loan that Dikang Real Estate owed to the bank had been found out. At present, the total value of Dikang Real Estate was about 70 million yuan. Okay, I got it. Yang Ming said, you study it and prepare 70 million yuan. Then, draft an acquisition intent. I am going to get Wei Jin's company. Ah. Bao Sonli was obviously stunned. Can Wei Jin sell the company? Will he agree with 70 million yuan? He will probably agree. You should prepare first. Yang Ming instructed. Okay. Bao Sonli found it strange, but he didn't say much. Instead, he quickly followed Yang Ming's instructions. After hanging up the phone, Wang Xiaoyan sighed. You're ruthless. You want 70 million yuan for a mission, and you're going to buy his company with it. One is willing to be beaten, and one is willing to be beaten. Who cares so much? Yang Ming smiled and said, well, it is time to talk to Wei Jin about the price. Yang Ming called Li Chang and asked him and Golden Bull to come to Wang Xiaoyan's villa. Li Chang had never been here before, but Golden Bull had been here before. The two of them happened to be companions. Half an hour later, Li Chang and Golden Bull arrived at Wang Xiaoyan's villa. Seeing that Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan were here, they knew that something big must have happened. The two of them quietly changed their shoes and sat on the sofa in the living room. After a while, Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan came over with a notebook. Yang Ming said, Golden Bull, I heard that you were the one who talked about the Black Widow's business before, right? Yes, Brother Yang. I was responsible for talking about the phone business and online business in the past. Golden Bull nodded and replied. Okay, take a look at this mission. Yang Ming pushed the notebook in front of Golden Bull and Li Chang. The two of them quickly looked down. Golden Bull and Li Chang looked at it carefully. Wei Jin's request was very simple. The two of them finished reading it in a few seconds, but Yang Ming didn't speak, so the two of them didn't dare to say anything. What do you think? Yang Ming looked up at Golden Bull and said. Brother Yang, in the past, after we received this kind of mission, we first investigated the identity and environment of the target to see if it was possible to operate, and then we would give the employer an answer, said Golden Bull. This target doesn't need to be investigated. You can accept it. Yang Ming said, you just need to be responsible for contacting the applicant. Okay, Brother Yang, how much do we charge for this mission? In the past, this kind of mission was about 5 million. Golden Bull asked for advice. After all, the assassin group was restructured, and the price might not be the same as before. 70 million, this is the price. Tell him that it can't be less than a penny, said Yang Ming. Ah! Golden Bull was stunned. He thought, no way, right? Did I hear it wrong? Such a humble mission costs 70 million. Won't the employer be scared away? However, since it was Yang Ming who said it, Wang Xiaoyan had no opinion on the side, so Golden Bull had to nod and say, okay. Li Chang, you learn the process from Golden Bull. You decide who to send, said Yang Ming. Don't worry, Brother Yang. Leave it to me. Li Chang nodded and replied. After the two people left, Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan went upstairs. There was nothing else, so they naturally continued to cultivate the tacit understanding between the two of them. However, not long after the two showered, Yang Ming received a call from Wei Jin. It seemed that this guy really couldn't wait. Hello. Wei Jin. Why are you calling me so late at night? Yang Ming pretended to be tired and asked. Yang Ming, I have an important matter to look for you. If it were an ordinary matter, I wouldn't disturb you so late at night. Wei Jin said, that matter, there is some progress. Now, I just need to sell the company. Well, can't we talk about this tomorrow? Yang Ming deliberately pretended to be not very enthusiastic. Yang Ming, I'm really in a hurry. Can we finalize this matter today? Wei Jin said anxiously. Well, then let's talk about it now. Yang Ming sighed. I just took a shower and was about to go to bed. So, what do you say? Yang Ming, you look at the company. Should we talk about it now? Wei Jin was afraid that Yang Ming would go back on his words, so he didn't care that it was late and quickly called Yang Ming. This way, Wei Jin, I don't know how much your company is worth now, and I can't just set a price. Yang Ming said, moreover, I don't have enough funds in my hands now. When Wei Jin heard Yang Ming's words, he was a little anxious and said, Yang Ming, Brother Yang. You don't have to. If you don't buy it, what should I do? My company guarantees a low price, oh. First. Tell me about it first. I'll see if I can accept it. Yang Ming said with some amusement. Okay, Dekang Real Estate. I found someone to evaluate it. Excluding the bank loan, the value is about 100 million, said Wei Jin. After listening to Wei Jin's words, Yang Ming thought, who are you kidding? 100 million. Do you really think I don't know anything? So he said with some difficulty, 100 million. So much. Of course, that's just the value. Hearing Yang Ming's words, Wei Jin quickly said, however, Brother Yang, if you buy it, I will give you a 50% discount. A 50% discount. How about 50 million? Wei Jin was afraid that Yang Ming didn't want it, so he wanted to sell the company as soon as possible. He didn't have a business mind, so he gave Yang Ming a 50% discount. Ah! Yang Ming was suddenly stunned. He thought, no way. I wanted to give him 80 million so that he could earn 10 million. As a result, this kid quoted a price of 50 million. If I don't accept it, wouldn't I be a fool? So Yang Ming deliberately said in a hesitant tone, well, 50 million is still acceptable. Let's start to study the contract in the next few days. Brother Yang, don't wait for a few days. Can you do it today? I'm really anxious. It's very urgent. Wei Jin said, I'll have to trouble you. Let's do it tonight. Tonight? Yang Ming didn't expect Wei Jin to be so impatient, but this kind of bargain couldn't be picked up every day. Being faster could only be good for him, but there was no harm. So, Yang Ming said, well, you wait for me. I will send someone to Dekang Real Estate. Let's settle the contract today. Okay, Brother Yang, then I will go now. Wei Jin heard that Yang Ming agreed, and he was happy immediately. How did it become 50 million again? Wang Xiaoyan waited for Yang Ming to hang up the phone and asked with some surprise. Who knows what this kid is thinking? He gave me a discount again, but he is willing to lose money. What can I do? Yang Ming said helplessly. You're still acting innocent after getting a bargain. Wang Xiaoyan said, if the Black Widow could meet such a fool in the past, it wouldn't have developed so badly. Then, do you still have money to buy a villa? Yang Ming didn't believe that Wang Xiaoyan would be short of money. Wang Xiaoyan suddenly blushed. She waved her fist and hit Yang Ming. She said bitterly, can't you cooperate? Chapter 1036. After getting the money, Wei Jin couldn't wait to remit the debt to the designated account of the Black Widow assassin group. Wei Jin was so anxious that he didn't even talk about the deposit and paid the full amount directly. If this were a scammer with a bad reputation, he would directly take Wei Jin's money and run away. Wei Jin couldn't find a place to cry. However, fortunately, Zhou Ruoguang was also Yang Ming's enemy. Yang Ming's plan to get rid of him was also within the plan. The person was found by Li Chang. He casually selected a person from the previous team to perform the mission. However, it was done very cleanly, and there was no evidence left behind. Zhou Ruoguang's death seemed to be normal. He walked on the road and accidentally fell into the sewer without a cover. Of course, he did not die immediately, but he starved to death below. Therefore, no one suspected that someone had done something. Falling into the sewer, being injured and starving to death could only be said that his luck was too bad. At most, everyone condemned the thief who stole the sewer cover. After Yang Ming learned the news, he and Wang Xiaoyan hugged each other in bed for a long time. Who did this? Isn't he too talented? Killing without a trace. He made a phone call and asked Li Chang. As a result, Li Chang's answer made Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan happy for another night. They even laughed when they thought about it. Li Chang's answer was that he sent someone to follow Zhou Ruoguang and wait for an opportunity to make a move. However, it didn't take long for Zhou Ruoguang to fall into the sewer. The only thing he sent someone to do was to half-cover the sewer so that Zhou Ruoguang would not be easily discovered. Yang Ming was shocked. No way. He died just like that. Isn't this too dramatic? It seems that this Wei Jin is also unlucky. If he contacted me a few days later, Zhou Ruoguang would have died by himself. He didn't have to spend money. Now, he spent 70 million. He still thought that Zhou Ruoguang was really killed by the assassin group. The signs of suicide seen on the surface were just a fake. Isn't this money too easy to earn? Yang Ming hung up the phone and said with a bitter smile. Wang Xiaoyan also heard it. She was already laughing on the side. If Wei Jin knows the truth, he will be furious. However, he will probably never know the truth. Who will he ask? Yang Ming smiled and said, the police naturally won't say anything to him. Besides, Zhou Ruoguang did fall in by himself. Yes, he can only accept his bad luck. Wang Xiaoyan nodded and said, but fortunately, he's still in the dark and doesn't know the truth. Songjiang, suburbs. In a secret chamber. What can you do for me? The boss, whose face couldn't be seen clearly, asked a young man beside him. Help you get rid of Yang Ming, the young man said. You? A trace of disdain flashed across the boss's mouth. Of course, but you can choose not to believe me. He personally trained and raised her. Of course, the girl's other task after training was to warm his bed. After all, what he was going to do today had a certain degree of danger, so the boss was a little reluctant. But in contrast, if Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan really died, then even if he had to sacrifice the girl's life, he was willing. Xiao Ai, is there any problem? Asked the boss. No problem. The woman named Xiao Ai nodded and said. If the mission fails, don't fight recklessly. The most important thing is to save your life. The boss hesitated and instructed. I know. Xiao Ai responded. The boss sat in the car, and the young man sat next to him. As for Xiao Ai, she carried a box of explosives and disappeared into the vast night. If you can't be ruthless, you can't do big things. The young man also saw that the boss had some feelings for Xiao Ai, so he said coldly. I don't need you to teach me what to do, said the boss with some anger. The young man did not speak, but he looked at the boss with ridicule. Seeing that Yang Ming dodged, the woman in black was not surprised. She did not even have any strange expression as if she had seen something that had nothing to do with her. She just mechanically raised the dagger again and stabbed at Yang Ming. Who are you? Who sent you? When Yang Ming asked this, he concentrated on the woman in black. He hoped that he could find something, but the result made him very disappointed. The woman did not have any expression at all. After listening to his question, there was no fluctuation in her eyes. This made Yang Ming's plan to use his special ability to explore this woman's thoughts failed. However, Yang Ming's heart was more vigilant. In addition to stabbing himself with the dagger, the woman did not have any other actions. Even her eyes were numb, without a trace of emotional fluctuations. Although this woman's eyes were very bright and clear, they were lifeless. There was no expression. Death Soldier. Yang Ming's heart was stunned, and he couldn't help but think of a word. Although he had never seen a real death soldier, Yang Ming still saw a similar introduction in the information. The so-called death soldier was equivalent to a death squad. Most of them were swordsmen in the underworld. For glory and wealth or to repay kindness, they worked for some aristocrats or behind-the-scenes bosses. They were basically engaged in two kinds of missions, assault and assassination. They were willing or forced to sacrifice their lives for these purposes. Usually, they would take poison before performing the mission. For example, they would smear poison between their teeth. If they failed, they would commit suicide to avoid being captured. On the other hand, a small number of men of sacrifice were secretly trained through professional training. This type of men of sacrifice were basically trained from a young child. They were brainwashed, and they were like walking corpses. They only had one thing to do every day, and that was to firmly obey the orders of their master. They had no thoughts, no opinions, and were completely like robots. This kind of death soldier was also the most difficult to deal with because they were not afraid of death. They were much more difficult to deal with than those who were repaying kindness or seeking glory. Thinking of this, Yang Ming no longer showed mercy. When the woman in black stabbed the dagger again, Yang Ming slammed the woman in black's elbow joint, and the dagger fell to the ground reflexively. Although Yang Ming was protective of the fairer sex, it also depended on the target. He naturally cared for the women around him, but for this kind of killing machine, if he was protective of her, it would be cruel to himself. Yang Ming grabbed the short hair of the woman in black and pulled it hard. The woman in black was pulled and almost fell to the ground. However, the woman's dagger fell, and she took out a second dagger from somewhere on her body. Although her hair was grabbed by Yang Ming, which made her very painful, the woman in black didn't even make a sound. She just snorted and once again slashed the dagger at Yang Ming's right arm that was grabbing her hair. Yang Ming had to let go of his hand, and his heart sank slightly. Perhaps my guess is not wrong. This is a death soldier who has undergone strict brainwashing training. Yang Ming felt more and more confused. I only have a few enemies. I can count them with my fingers. The Wang family is finished. The Ouyang family in Province P was killed by me. Wei Dikang was also blown up. Wei Jin also went abroad. Who is going to deal with me? Wait, I am now in Wang Xiaoyan's house. Is her target Wang Xiaoyan? What kind of force did Wang Xiaoyan provoke? Judging from the incident in Macau, Wang Xiaoyan may have really provoked some enemies, but the two people who attacked Wang Xiaoyan at that time were not on the same level as the woman in black this time. The two people in Macau could be regarded as assassins at best, but the woman I met today is a real death soldier. The behind-the-scenes boss who can train such a person is by no means an ordinary person. Wang Xiaoyan is just a small leader of the assassin group. How can she have a grudge with such a person? I will ask you again. Who sent you? Otherwise, I will not be polite. Don't think that I don't dare to do anything to you because you are a woman. Yang Ming sneered and said, I am best at Dragon Claw Hand and Jin Gang Kick. Chapter 1038. Wang Xiaoyan sweated profusely after hearing Yang Ming's words. Only Yang Ming could say such shameless words. But thinking about it carefully, it wasn't strange. When Yang Ming fought with her, he used this kind of wretched move. The woman didn't seem to hear it. She continued to stab Yang Ming with the dagger, as if she wouldn't stop until she achieved her goal. Yang Ming suddenly had a headache. To deal with such a person, he couldn't be persuaded by force or persuasion. Don't force me to make a move. The woman in black was still expressionless as she attacked Yang Ming. Yang Ming had no choice. He stretched out his hands and grabbed the woman in black's chest. He grabbed it firmly and squeezed it hard. However, the woman in black didn't seem to know. She didn't feel anything wrong. It was as if Yang Ming wasn't grabbing her chest, but other parts of her body, just like her hair. Are you going to say it? Yang Ming increased the strength of his hand. Well, it seems to feel good, but it's a pity. Okay, don't take advantage of the situation. Wang Xiaoyan couldn't stand it anymore. Isn't this Yang Ming a bit too shameless? Hee hee. Yang Ming laughed dryly and let go of his hand. He was really speechless. This woman. I shouldn't call her a woman. She's just a machine. Yang Ming tried his best to distract the woman in black. It would be best if she was in a trance and nervous state. Then, his ability would take advantage of the situation. But unfortunately, no matter what wretched moves he used, the woman was still unhurried and methodically dealt with it. Motherfucker. Yang Ming cursed and shouted, Vajra Vagina Kick. This was Yang Ming's best move, but it was the first time he used it on a woman. Yang Ming thought to himself, I'll kick your little sister until she explodes. Let's see if you'll still be so calm. With a bang sound, the woman in black's crotch was kicked by Yang Ming. The woman in black's face immediately flushed red. Naturally, it was not because she was shy, but because she was in so much pain that she wanted to die. The black-clothed woman's body also jumped along with Yang Ming's kick. One could imagine how powerful Yang Ming's kick was. Although the woman in black was a trained soldier of sacrifice and was no different from a robot, this did not mean that she could not feel pain like a robot. The reason was very simple. She was a human, a body of flesh and blood. Even if she had no thoughts, she could still feel. The black-clothed woman's face was ashen. She covered her crotch and squatted down. Bean-sized beads of sweat trickled down. She gritted her teeth and panted heavily. However, there was no trace of nervousness or hatred in her eyes. She was still so calm, like a lake without ripples. Yang Ming cursed in his heart. Motherfucker, I can't fix it. She was still so calm after I kicked her little sister. She's really a fucking piece of work. Although Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan's current relationship couldn't be any closer, Yang Ming didn't want her to know everything about him. For example, the secret technique that Fang Tian taught him, which wasn't taught to outsiders. But now it seemed that if this woman didn't feel some extraordinary pain, she wouldn't say anything useful. Wang Xiaoyan, who was behind Yang Ming, was secretly shocked. This Yang Ming is really fierce. Fortunately, he only used one move, breast-grabbing Dragon Claw, when he fought with me last time. If he used this move, Jean Gang's crotch kick, then wouldn't my little sister be kicked to pieces? Thinking about it, Wang Xiaoyan felt sweat on her forehead. This Yang Ming isn't just a little shameless. He's shameless to the extreme. Yang Ming looked at the woman in black and smiled faintly. He didn't want to say anything more. He could only take action. Otherwise, he wouldn't get any secrets from this woman in black. He gently tapped a few acupoints on her body, but this was done with his back to Wang Xiaoyan. His body just blocked Wang Xiaoyan's line of sight. Moreover, even if Wang Xiaoyan found out, Yang Ming also thought of an excuse, which was that he used poison. The woman in black reacted and writhed on the ground like a water snake. However, one could imagine the pain she was in just by looking at her expression. Unfortunately, although she looked like she was in pain, her eyes were still blank. Moreover, she didn't open her mouth to beg for mercy. She didn't even say a word. Yang Ming sighed slightly. This was the first time he had met such an opponent. His abilities were ineffective, and his acupoints were also ineffective. He was like a robot, making him helpless. What's going on? Seeing the woman in black struggling on the ground, Wang Xiaoyan also saw some clues and asked Yang Ming. This person is a trained death warrior. He doesn't have his own thoughts or opinions. He only obeys his master's orders. Yang Ming shook his head. It seems that it's almost impossible to find any clues from her. Yang Ming reached out and unsealed the woman in black's acupoints. Then, he said, "You can go now." The reason why Yang Ming let her go was because he wanted to use his ability to follow her and see where she would go. However, he didn't expect that the moment Yang Ming unsealed the woman in black's acupoints, the woman in black suddenly hit her head against the floor. With a loud bang, the woman in black's brain burst open and she died. Yang Ming secretly cursed his bad luck. What is this? Fortunately, Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan were both assassins. They didn't have so many taboos about the dead. If it were another girl, they probably wouldn't dare to return to this house. Wang Xiaoyan was a little shocked. She had never encountered such a scene. Today, not only did she see the legendary death warrior, but this death warrior also committed suicide in front of her. Yang Ming. Who is this person? How did she come here? Although Wang Xiaoyan was an assassin, she instinctively wanted to find someone to rely on when encountering these unknown things. I don't know who she is now. Yang Ming said helplessly. She didn't say a word from beginning to end. I don't even know if she came for you or me. But one thing is certain. The person behind her is definitely not simple. Wang Xiaoyan nodded slightly. Indeed, Yang Ming was right. Just now, she was worried and confused. Now that she thought about it, from Yang Ming's fight with this woman in black to her suicide, the woman in black did not say a word. Forget it. Don't think about her. Let's see if there is anything on her that can prove her identity. Yang Ming said as he squatted down and carefully searched the woman in black. Unfortunately, only a dagger was found on her body. It seemed that she carried 3 daggers with her. Other than that, there was nothing else. In the end, Yang Ming's gaze fell on the small bag behind the woman in black. He picked it up and glanced at the things inside with his special ability. At first glance, Yang Ming was shocked. This bag actually contained a detonator. What's wrong? Seeing that Yang Ming's expression was stagnant, Wang Xiaoyan asked, baffled. Yang Ming opened the small bag and pointed to the things inside. We almost died together. Detonator. Wang Xiaoyan naturally recognized the things in the bag. Her face suddenly changed. You mean, she wanted to put the detonator to kill us? Probably so. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. It seems that the 2 of us escaped a disaster. Wang Xiaoyan was a little silent. The person who came today was definitely not an ordinary person. At least, her family's heavyweight opponent would train such a death warrior. Yang Ming collected the body of the woman in black and sprinkled a little corpse disintegration powder that Fang Tian gave him. The body of the woman in black instantly turned into a puff of blue smoke and disappeared. Corpse disintegration powder. Wang Xiaoyan asked with some surprise. Yang Ming nodded. Wang Xiaoyan also knew that there were some very strange powders in the underworld, so she didn't find it strange. Since Yang Ming didn't want to say more, she didn't ask more. Do you have any enemies? Yang Ming pondered for a while and asked. Wang Xiaoyan shook her head. She had been thinking about this question since the beginning, but she didn't think of any answer. It was still possible to say that my family had offended someone, but however, my identity was confidential. Almost no one knew about it. Only a few people close to my family knew about it. Wang Xiaoyan couldn't figure it out. What is the identity of this woman in black? If you can't figure it out, then don't think about it. We'll deal with whatever comes our way. I'll kill whoever comes. I don't believe that this death warrior training is like a production line. There are as many as you want. Yang Ming said with an indifferent smile in order to make Wang Xiaoyan feel relieved. Although Yang Ming didn't know how this death warrior was trained, he thought that there wouldn't be many of them. If there were more, he wouldn't be able to handle it if they just sent a team. Indeed, Yang Ming's guess was right. The death warrior training was quite complicated and difficult. The boss adopted 10 orphans, but only 3 passed the training in the end. One of them was Xiao Ai, and the other was Xiao Zi, who was also the boss's bed. The other was a boy named Xiao Law. The other 7 people either couldn't withstand the pressure of the training and died, or they had their own thoughts and betrayed him. The boss had to kill them personally. In the van, the boss and the young man were waiting for the news of Xiao Ai, but they didn't see Xiao Ai come back for a long time. The boss's expression began to become nervous. Perhaps Xiao Ai failed. These 3 people were his trump cards, and he didn't want to use them easily. If the young man's suggestion wasn't so tempting, the boss wouldn't let Xiao Ai act personally. An hour later, the boss sighed sadly. Xiao Ai won't take so long to come back, failed. The young man didn't have any sympathy for Xiao Ai. In his eyes, Xiao Ai was a machine, a tool to perform tasks. It should be like this. The boss nodded regretfully and said, "Let's go back. It seems that Yang Ming is not so easy to kill." Chapter 1039. What if you are not here in the future? Back in the room, Wang Xiaoyan asked with lingering fear. She didn't know whether she wanted Yang Ming to accompany her here, or she was really afraid that someone would come here and set off a bomb. Install a security system. Yang Ming said, "I will find someone to customize a set, but I think that with one failure, the person behind the scenes will not use the same method a second time." Yang Ming's words made some sense. Wang Xiaoyan nodded. No one would be stupid enough to use a second method after it failed. Well, I can feel more at ease this way. Wang Xiaoyan knew that the so-called security system was only for those who were not professionals. However, since Yang Ming said that he would find someone to customize it, it should not be bad. At least it could cope with people like just now. Otherwise, Yang Ming would not propose to install it. Go to sleep. It's very late. I don't think they will send anyone over today. Yang Ming hugged Wang Xiaoyan in his arms and comforted her. Right, Yang Ming, you were really ruthless just now. What Jean Gang's crotch kick, you can even use it. Wang Xiaoyan suddenly remembered what happened before and complained. If I wasn't ruthless, she would have killed me. Yang Ming knew that sometimes he had to learn to be ruthless, otherwise, he would be ruthless by others. Then why didn't you use this trick when you fought with me? Wang Xiaoyan asked with some blame. Of course, it's different. Yang Ming smiled and said, "You said that if you lose, you will be my lover. If I break you, won't I be the one who suffers?" After listening to Yang Ming's naked and almost provocative words, Wang Xiaoyan suddenly blushed. "You are still afraid of breaking me." The annual jewelry festival was about to be held in Songjiang. This was a jewelry exhibition held by the China Jewelry Association. The venue this year was Songjiang. Logically, Songjiang was a second-tier city. Generally, such an exhibition would not be held in such a city, but this time it was an exception. He didn't know why the association chose to hold it here. Lin Jiyun wasn't in Songjiang. It was Zhao Sisi who called and told him that. Although Lu Weishan Jewelry was a brand newly established this year, it had Lu Weishan's signboard and the endorsement of Shuya, an idol singer who was popular in Asia. Moreover, it had recently launched a DIY wedding ring service. Therefore, Lu Weishan Jewelry Company couldn't be more popular. The invitation was naturally sent over. It took a lot of effort to hold the jewelry festival in Songjiang this time. The boss said indifferently, "That vice president is really black-hearted. He took 10 million from me alone. I hope that this time, I can see Yang Ming's plight of poverty." The boss sneered. "You're right. She had not applied for broadband, so it was normal that she could not go online." The day before the start of school, Yang Ming's fifth cousin came to Songjiang and called Yang Ming's home at the station. It was a distant relative. Yang Ming was not enthusiastic about it, but Mother Yang was very enthusiastic. She called a car and rushed to the station with Yang Ming. Yang Ming's car had not been repaired yet, so Mother Yang simply found a van in Mingyang Heavy Industry. She originally wanted to find a car, but she thought that fifth cousin should have luggage in his hands. She was afraid that the car could not fit, so she found a van. The car stopped at the Songjiang railway station. Fifth cousin didn't come by fifth uncle's car, but he came by train by himself. However, he probably didn't want to come with fifth uncle, and he would feel that fifth uncle was dragging his feet on the road. Yang Ming was very helpless as he held a "You cheat" sign and waited at the entrance of the railway station. Bath? Shark's fin. Fish pond. I don't know who came up with this name, but it is full of creativity. At this time, a well-dressed young man wearing a mink fur and sunglasses came over with a pair of shiny leather boots. He saw the sign in Yang Ming's hand and greeted, "I say, buddy, are you my second aunt's son, Yang Daming?" "I'm not Yang Daming. I'm Yang Ming." Yang Ming sweated a bit. "Sure enough, as the legend said, my fifth cousin looks very sociable." "Oh, it's the same. I heard from my old man that your name is Daming. I thought you were called Yang Daming." Fifth cousin said indifferently. He turned his head and saw Mother Yang, so he raised a hand and greeted, "Is this my second aunt?" "Second aunt, hello.